Let's do it. We're gonna go live. Are we ready?
We are more than ready.
Well, I'm glad you're more than ready because we're live. We are officially on the air.
Hey, let's go. Viewership falls to zero. Everyone tunes out. They've had the slideshow at the beginning. That's all they came here to see.
These fuckers here. Fucking Paul and Josh. I was hoping it was Big James Connolly, but no. Sorry, Connolly. It's just so
sorry. We couldn't secure that the contract this time. We are working on it with Connolly's agent.
Come back to us.
We do promise.
In a week or two.
Yeah, in the next month we are hoping to get Connolly on as a guest star.
Yeah, big if true. Maybe you'll join us in the Two Tankies pub this evening.
He is more than welcome to join us in our little snug.
Snug in the corner, yeah. Do you want to do a little introduction to us? We'll do a little shout out to everybody in chat. This is going to be a fun, relaxed conversation today. A fun, relaxed live stream. We'll just be answering Q&As throughout, having some fun, taking it easy, enjoying our Wednesday night. We're partially celebrating our comrade's birthday. Comrade Swann's birthday recently. I'm not going to give away too much information, but it was quite recently. And yeah, so I'm going to drink to that. Cheers, comrades.
Cheers, all. Cheers for joining the birthday celebrations.
Cheers for being here, everybody. Good to have you. Would you like to introduce the Two Tankies pub night? I mean, you did a fantastic lead-in the last time. I'm not sure if you want to take that. You said you were going to prepare something, or you had.
Let's continue story time again.
Here we go. Everybody sit down.
We've all had. I say, get yourself cozy, get yourself a pint and stuff. Maybe wrap yourself in a blanket or something to get all nice and snug. So anyway, so what we've done is now we've had our little pre-drinks over at Paul's place. We've had several pints already in our belly, warming it up, lining it for the assault that's coming onto it tonight. So we're wandering down that glorious street. It's not quite the yellow brick road; it's more the grey paved road. But there is a light at the end of it, the Oz to our town, and there it is. It's glowing. The lights are shining upon it, and you see the sign again onto the door. The Two Tankies pub. It's got a nice little old rustic drawing of two old tanks sitting next to each other. Beautiful, beautiful pub. You have to see it with your own eyes. So we do go up to the door though, and unfortunately there is a new notice on the old door, and it says, by order of Angadi Shiakana and West Yorkshire Police, no more lock-ins. Please do be respectful of your neighbours as you leave tonight. We're sick of the noise complaints. So unfortunately there is going to be some kind of limit on our fun tonight. 2
hours with the Two Tankies.
There we go. It lines up perfectly, doesn't it? The rule of two. If only we're doing it on a Tuesday.
Imagine. Well, I mean, the last time was a bit excessive. I think we did 8 hours last time. We did 6 hours live and then 2 hours after. 2 hours after.
Insane. I loved every second of it, but that was a little bit excessive. And
it was excessive.
I think my housemates wanted to smack me after. At the Two Tankies pub, and it seems that no one's actually listened to the notice outside. It's rammed. It's absolutely jam-packed inside the Two Tankies, full of hundreds of people swarming around the bar. Well, now COVID's gone now in this little fantasy land. It's amazing. It's a beautiful world.
Big bag of vaccines with the lads.
So, yeah, you get your vaccine as soon as you step inside of it. Cuba's been sourcing us.
Class.
So we come inside, and obviously the bar's full. The barman, he stands up on his tiptoes. He just points over into the corner, and we wade through the crowds of people. And there it is. There's a snug right by the fire. It's roaring once again, and the snug is empty. It has a little
crackling in the fire.
It's gorgeous. There's fake music in the background. The people are loving it, and there's our snug reserved for us just right there. In fact, they haven't even got the paper sign out. It's actually a plaque now. It's a proper little bit of wood engraved and everything, because we're the locals, we're the regulars. So they know when we're coming. That's why the barman pointed it out to us. So we sit ourselves down, and the pints are already there. We don't have to go wait out in the front with the masses there, mixing in, getting COVID and all the likes of that. It's not happening. The pints are on the table. And the barman, he just stands up, puts his thumb up, gives us a nod of appreciation, and he gets back to serving the
little wink.
Yeah, a little cheeky wink as well, because he knows what's about to happen. There's a pint man as well, sat at the bar. He's looking a bit frustrated. He's onto his 27th pint now, and he's got a load of stains down his arm. Now, the amount of times being knocked whilst he's trying to put them away at increasing speed. By the time he gets to his 30th pint, something's going to blow, and there's going to be some kind of brawl over there. But that's for them to deal with. That's for that corner of the pub. We're in our own little space. The snug in the Two Tankies, dedicated for conversation, vibes, and general political enlightenment of the masses. So with that, we raise our glasses. We know we don't have to faff about now. We're going to be served like kings here, or general secretaries, or whatever you want to call us. And to that, we drink, and we christen the night.
And cheers to that fucking beautiful, gorgeous introduction. Thank you very much, comrade.
The story times get better the more I get drunk. I've only just finished my first pint, so.
Well, imagine the outro. Imagine what the outro is going to be like. You've got
the outro is going to be an hour long all on its own, and it's going to be an actual novel. It'll be amazing.
Well, you've got an hour and 45 minutes to prepare for that, and I'm looking forward to hearing that. Let's do a quick shout out to all the comrades in the chat here. Thank you.
I'm just going to get another drink whilst you're doing that, comrade.
Yeah, go ahead, brilliant.
I've already run out.
Second point time. Well, thankfully it's here for us in the two Tankies. Michael Parenti, how are you getting on? Ben Toth, Jessidiah, Dialectical Breads, good to see us. Matthew Calise, Dialectical Bread again. Volty M, how are you getting on, comrade? Good to see you. The Anglesist, Jose Maria, great to have you here. Thanks very much for being here. JC Diaz, who else have we got? Ruples Pooples, Ghost Ramen, Jordan, Physicala Cullen, I can't pronounce that. Physicalea Cullen, I can't pronounce very well. I apologize for butchering your name, but how are you getting on? Good to see you. ZB, how are you? 4 Rachel 5, how are you? Falcon General, good to see you, comrades. And thanks everybody for being here. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Whew, I'm looking forward to taking it easy and having some fun tonight and just chilling. We'll do a few Q&As. Get the Q&As into the chat there. As always, just do a little at Paul Moran and we'll take them as they come. We'll just fire through them. No, it's good to have you back. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Josh, for that great introduction. It was absolutely brilliant. Hello to Dawdling Hazel.
People liked it.
Who couldn't like that? Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Ben Thought's gonna be listening to the background. Good. Thank you very much, Ben. Good to have you here. Yeah, no, I was just saying that this month has been a fucking rough one. I want to apologize for not uploading. Excuse me, I just want to apologize for not uploading so many videos recently. This month, March has been just a really crazy month for me. There's just been a load of family issues. My ma got pneumonia, a really intense and severe case of pneumonia, and she's a little bit on the older side, so when more elderly people get pneumonia, they have cognitive issues, and they often get very dizzy. They forget things. They get very disorientated, and this causes all kinds of problems. My dad's dead, so my mom lives alone. So I kind of have to care for her at the moment, and have had to for the past few weeks because pneumonia is a very sort of long time thing. It's a very like kind of a long term kind of thing in terms of healing. It can take up to like 6, 7, 8 weeks sometimes to be like fully back to 100%. So that's been a whole thing. My sister-in-law had a fall. My pregnant sister-in-law had a fall, so there was like the issue of like whether or not the baby's okay. My wife's a member of my wife's family, extended family, but family nonetheless, died from COVID, and it's just been kind of a shit show this month. It's just been absolutely mental. So I
mean, everyone's thoughts with you as well, comrade. Obviously, it's hard. So
thanks, comrades.
I'm sure everyone understands, and we're all sending you and your family as well absolutely all the best. So
thanks very much.
Hopefully, that the dark times are behind us, and we can look on to
well, the good news is,
and hopefully a nice April.
Well, fingers crossed. Yeah, just fuck March 2021. I'm done with it. I've had enough of it. It's a load of bollocks.
Fuck March last year as well. Absolute state of it. It's
it really was. Now. Yeah, that was when fucking COVID really kicked in, wasn't it? That was a load of bollocks. That was a load of shite. Send it back. No more marches.
23rd, I think, was that when our lockdown came.
We're done. We're done with marches. They're done. Let's move on.
I mean, we couldn't even celebrate St. Patrick's Day or anything like that as well. So.
Yeah,
there wasn't even that shining light in the middle.
That was a big hit to us last year. Yeah, and this year it was just taken for granted. Like, we're not going to do that. Fine, no big deal.
Yeah,
it's fucking crap. Really shit. So this month's just been a bit rough. So I apologize for not uploading videos. Apologize for not being as tuned in. I've just kind of disconnected from a lot of social media stuff and just focused on real life because there's more important things to be focused on.
There is more important shit out there, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's nice to be here, nice to be relaxing, nice to have some fun and to take it easy and to just.
Do you want to hear something that is relaxing?
Yes, please. Your voice always is relaxing. That lovely accent with that new microphone. Oh, popping open that can.
How was the can in like 4K audio quality?
Sparkling. I can hear the sparkling in my eardrums. You can really hear it just like bouncing off the inside.
Right in the recesses of your head. It's amazing.
It's magical.
Probably sounds better on the mic now than it actually does in real life.
Yeah. No, it does. It really sparkles through. It really, you can really hear the beautiful timbre of that That
That's a
can.
good word. Someone did music back at school.
I took a module. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. What are you drinking? Actually, are you drinking on? Are you on the old Guinness as your
It is
picture?
Guinness for now, as
Good
is
man.
tradition. Shift over to Carlsberg or something lighter later on, just
Nice one.
because I'm fucked. So we'll start Guinness right.
Yeah,
Then
definitely.
we'll
Well,
shift
Guinness
over.
Guinness is class for like about 2 points. Then you feel like you've had a full fucking Sunday dinner, and you're just like, right, I can't go any further. I'm just too full. You're
You
too
see, you
full.
fail. That is not the way the Pint Man. The Pint Man has it all night long. I mean, that time only had the 8
I've a
hours
lot of work
going.
to do. Yeah.
The whole thing, 11 Guinness, 11 of them.
I don't know how you do it. I think I had about 5 or 6. That was me, and that was just normal beer, like so.
To be fair, I am on the I'm on cans. It's not like proper like creamy pints that you would actually get poured out of you and stuff.
Yeah.
And even then, English Guinness don't quite cut it. Like it, I mean, everyone says it, but it's legit like it's dire here. So
Everywhere outside of Ireland, it's a load of shit. I'm sorry, but outside of Ireland, Guinness is just useless. Don't fucking waste your time. Really.
you see, I mean, this is why I'm overly committed. It's like I'm willing to put myself under extreme strain and physical distress
just to show the support.
Yeah, innit?
Just to represent.
I mean, as the way as a Irish Republican enjoyer.
Oh man. Well, enjoy it. Do enjoy it. I hope you can enjoy the English Guinness. I hope you can have a good night, and hopefully it gets the job done. Cheers, comrade.
I mean, as long as it gets me pissed, it'll be right.
Yeah, well, it'll definitely get that. It'll definitely satisfy that requirement.
Cheers.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at a few of the little comments here in the live chat. So Michael Parente is fucking with us. Start the podcast.
Real Michael Parente, the actual
real one. Is China imperialist? Oh fuck.
Ooh,
let's not.
Straight away.
Let's not.
This is
Where's the Xi
again. I say it all the time. No China zone. Stay China banned. Go.
This is yeah, we're officially adding China to the Vosh list that we have here. No more. We don't talk about Vosh. We don't talk about China.
Discourse.
We're done. There's a full video on it. You can go over there and hit dislike and unsubscribe or whatever.
Yeah, vent your frustrations there and come back here and hopefully feel a bit. Maybe you punched a hole in the wall out of frustration.
Yeah.
So you can come back here and chill the fuck out. We're in the pub now. We can't
take it easy.
Again, we're in the stuff where we let the fighting happen in the other areas.
Yeah.
This is our area.
This area is
it's like that Peaky Blinders thing. No fucking fighting.
That is it. I love that as the left unity. You see a little left unity gift that they have of that, and it's like the Marxist, anarchist, left comms. Oh, I fucking love that. It's class.
Well, it's when the left com comes out of the kitchen and he just pushes it out.
He just pushes. Oh, that was so funny. Yeah.
That's who we fight. That is it.
Fuck out of my way. Yeah, that was class. Froor Productions says, "Hey Paul, I'm just curious on Socialist Swann's thoughts on the Northern Independence Party and whether it has any chance of success or if it is going to become a liberal party. Do you know about this Northern Independence Party?"
Yeah. It's kind of taken online Twitter Spaces by storm, really, hasn't it?
Oh, really? I don't know.
Yeah,
I've been offline.
Yeah, well, it's kind of an offshoot from Corbyn's like wing of the Labour Party. Obviously, the whole thing that's going on with the Labour Party, Keir Starmer coming in, and all that kind of thing. So a lot of people who are in the north who supported Corbyn's politics have now seen that their way to get their ideas across is to start a new party based on separating the north from the rest of the UK, which as a meme based, yeah. But if you want my real opinion about it,
what is this a sincere thing?
They are.
Okay, it's just they're just messing around.
Well, obviously, yeah. Well, I think they think they're sincere. I think they do. But they're actually standing a candidate in Hartlepool because there's a by-election there. So they're standing a candidate, quite a well-respected Labour figure who's standing there. But they're very much just confined to being online. They only do the Twitter posts and stuff and the memes and that. So it's like maybe it could actually become something if they got involved in northern communities, did mutual aid, actually, serve the people like a communist should, rather than just posting funny memes and shit and shit posting on Twitter. I mean, obviously, if they are going to be genuine socialists and they do genuinely care for the North, then of course, I wish them absolutely all the best with that. But from the outlook of it, it just seems like another joke. I mean, they're being fucking backed by the Monster Raven Looney Party, so I don't know how much that says in their favour or anything. But yeah, they've been talking to other people from. Do you follow like Navarra Media and stuff, so like the Aaron Bastanis of
I
the
used
world?
to, I used to. I got sick of them. I couldn't handle them after a
Yeah,
while. They
they've.
just very liberal. They became very,
Yeah, I
very
mean,
liberal.
obviously it started off so well when I can't remember her name, Ash. She went on Good Morning Britain and said, "I'm
Literally a
literally a communist."
communist. Yeah, that was class.
And you're literally not. I mean, look at
She's
all the
not. No,
things you're supporting. Like,
very little.
you know, you're literally just controlled opposition at this point.
I
So,
don't think she's in a
yeah,
communist party either. So that's
no, she's not. No, I
hard to
think she
beat.
might still be in Labour, but I don't know.
Maybe.
So, I mean, a communist shouldn't be in Labour, really.
No, no,
Um,
no, no.
I
Got to be
mean,
in the
obviously, I
Communist Party.
respect people that are. You know, there are good people in Labour who are obviously doing good work in their communities. But if you're a communist, you should really be in an actual communist party and fighting
Doing.
for communist policies on an independent platform.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But to
Should be
sum
doing
up
communist shit.
my thoughts anyway about the Northern Independence Party, I think it has a potential for being summit, but the way it started off really doesn't show that. I mean, maybe benefit of the doubt, COVID, maybe that stops whatever they want to do. But it just seems the people running it do tend to be quite, middle class,
Right, yeah.
Corbynites and stuff. So yeah, that's my thoughts, and I apologize for going on a rant about that.
No, no, it was class. It was really, really good to hear. Because I don't actually know that much about it. So yeah, that's good. But like, I don't know how. I'm not sure. Maybe. I mean, I know that those are your thoughts generally about it, but do you have any idea about how communists are kind of relating to this question more broadly? Like in terms of like northern independence, because like how does this sort of fit into our communist conception of like national liberation struggles and all these kinds of issues? Have you spoken to any of your comrades about this and maybe gotten any thoughts about this, or is this just your own sort of personal opinion on it?
Yeah, most of what I just said is mostly personal opinion, but I have spoken to comrades in the YCL and the CPB as well, just about it kind of briefly. And the general consensus is that it's not doing the mutual aid, it's not actually engaging in northern communities and stuff. So therefore, it's not as serious as it could be. On the question of whether the North could actually be defined as a nation, really interesting. So obviously, I don't. I think most people know by now that I'm quite proud Northerner, specifically a Yorkshireman.
Mm.
So obviously, the issue with the North-South divide is something that's very, very close to me personally. Seeing the extent of the North-South divide, and I think the NIP does serve a purpose of highlighting that North-South divide and just how explicit it actually is. Because one thing I did find out through it was that apparently the disparity in infrastructure between the north and the south of England is very similar to a country that's just come out of a civil war.
Well, really?
And it's like, we built this system, we went through the industrialization, the forced industrialization in the 19th century, the 18th century, just a little bit earlier. And obviously then we also saw the deindustrialization as well, the forceful disruption of our communities and our livelihoods as well, and left so many people in the north without a hope of getting a job or very low chances of getting housing or anything like that. And then you have people coming up from London who are like, oh, it's cheap housing market because, London's just completely beyond fucked.
Yeah.
So they come up here and they'll start becoming landlords and stuff, and they start gentrifying our communities, and it does deserve much, much more attention. But then I don't think the North does constitute a nation. Personally, I mean, obviously, I know I joke and I piss about all the time about, I'm a completely different person to Southerners and stuff, and I do think to an extent there is a different culture.
Yeah.
But we also do. I mean, it's not the 80s anymore. The North does depend on the South to a certain extent. I mean, that's the way the system's being built. Maybe it could change. I don't know, but we're not. It's the North ain't what it used to be. So there isn't that independent economic life. If we're going off Stalin's definition of a nation. Yeah, so
same
maybe.
same language, I suppose, as well. I mean, yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, we have the same language and a lot of. I mean, to be fair as well, obviously it's a class question as well. So we've been putting the memes aside and stuff. Like the northern working class have the entirely same interest as the southern working class as well. We both want to smash that Westminster bubble of Tory elites and landlords and the capitalists and the like of that. We don't gain much by splitting away because we still have northern capitalists, we still have northern landlords and the like of that. So it's I think that independence comes from directing class anger onto a regional level, so maybe one day we could start off the Yorkshire. I mean, maybe that's my quarrel with the Northern Independence Party. It classes the North as a nation rather than just Yorkshire. So maybe I'll be heading the Yorkshire Republican Army as a split or something. You know, so I think the comrades need to have some line struggle on the question. I mean, maybe later, once we've had a full debate in a democratic, centralist manner, and we've decided by popular decision that Yorkshire is a nation and it is thoroughly deserving of its right to nationhood, then maybe if it's a project I can embark on.
Up the Ura, up the Ura.
Ira!
Ura.
Hey, embark up.
I'll drink to that.
Hell yeah, drink to that.
Come here to me. Are you familiar? Siddharth Raj asks, are you guys aware about the farmers' protests in India? I'm kind of like I've heard about it in the background, but I haven't actually studied it. I haven't really looked into it. Have you?
I haven't looked into it massively, it's got to be said, and that's my own personal shame. But again,
Yeah,
there's not much that actually gets talked about, but it's obviously huge, isn't it? You know, I think it was the biggest general strike in history. I think, like, just ever. So that's amazing. It should be talked about more, and obviously it's also spearheaded by communists, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, if that's the same protest that we're thinking of, I know, because I know there was that massive protest, all the workers. I'm not sure if that's the same, if the exact same one. But yeah, maybe if you can send some recommendations for things for us to read and to check out, that'd be really useful. We can look more into it.
I know the channel Dirty Commie Scum, I think they're called, did a video on it about it. Good. I mean, it's a good video. So I don't know if you could put a link in the chat or something to share that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But that's basically, that video is basically all that I actually know of it. But any reading recommendations, please do send them over and I'll get them read when I can.
Definitely, I look forward to learning more about it and learning about the struggle. Cheers, comrade. And I want to say thank you very much to all the comrades in the chat there, sending their support, sending their love, sending hugs, all that good stuff. I really, really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you being here. Yeah, it was a shitty month, but fuck it, we're gonna keep on going.
We're writing it off. It's a good May now.
Yeah,
sorry, April. I've already written April out of my mind. It's just not a month anymore. Yeah, sack that off too.
Yeah, just writing it off there. Let me just see. I lost where the questions were. Let me just see if I can find the next question here. Jessica says, I saw a post about a cold food plate. It said that it was a plate of specific foods parents make kids on a hot Irish day. Is this an Irish thing? If so, you got a favorite kind? I don't know about this cold food plate. Just throwing a load of vegetables or something there. Like, I don't know, some tomatoes, just some, I don't know, cold. Yeah. Like, when I think of cold food plate, I just think of like yesterday's dinner that was left in the fridge overnight, and you just some mash or something like that.
It usually happens when you like order like a pizza or something, innit? You just have
the day after. It's just cold. And
yeah,
it's strangely pretty good.
That's really nice. Yeah, but then
Domino's the next day. That's my favorite cold food plate. Yeah, fucking absolutely. You know, Domino's.
Oh, it's amazing, yeah.
Domino's, yeah, but then it's pretty good.
And because last time I had a cold Domino's, it gave me a really bad stomach, so that was
really
fun. And enjoyed that. So maybe I'll actually put the pizza in the fridge next time rather than just on side. But you don't have this kind of wisdom when you're pissed. So I don't know. Maybe I should leave a note by my bedside or something. Put the pizza in the fridge. But Domino's is really nice. It's just too expensive. That's the problem.
Yeah, it is really, really expensive. It is really, you gotta save up. You gotta save up for that one.
They do good deals though.
Yeah.
So I think for me, so if I go and collect a Domino's pizza, I get it for a tenner rather than 20. You know, for a large one, huge. And the Domino's that I ordered from is basically just around the corner from me, so it's a decent deal actually. Yeah, if I didn't have that, I'd never go Domino's in my life.
But the thing is that I used to work in Domino's, so you just get loads of free. I used to get loads of free stuff from there. So.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
You've done alright for yourself then.
Yeah, so it's great. Just like every day you go there, you get those little tiny little personal pizzas to yourself.
Is that why you mentioned the Domino's? Is that because you're still
working
getting paid by them?
Yeah, I am. This is part of my grift.
In the pocket
is part of
big
grift,
pizza.
So I was talking about, yeah, big pizza.
Part of grift, yeah.
This is part of my imperialist colonizer grift. You know, I'm actually working for Domino's. I'm working for Big Pizza.
Oh my god. Who aren't you shilling for at the end of the day? You know, big money mouse.
Shilling for
all sorts.
Big money mouse. I love that so much. Oh man. Oh, it's so depressing. It's so depressing when I look at my Patreon, and you know you've got a Patreon, so you know how it is. Like if someone leaves your Patreon,
I do. Is this the time to shill the Patreon?
Please do, because I've lost over 10% of my Patreon supporters, and like you can see a little exit survey things. You know, it's like an exit survey, and they ask you to explain like why they've left, and it's like Paul became a fucking ultra. Paul became a fucking Maoist.
Fuck's sake.
Paul became Paul became a Western chauvinist. Paul became.
Oh.
Nobody said Paul became a colonizer anyway, so at least I appreciated that.
Well, okay, there you go. You dodged that bullet then.
So,
well, no, you can't just become a colonizer. Obviously, of course, you always were a colonizer.
Yeah, no. Obviously, Irish people who live in Ireland are definitely colonizers. Yeah. Although, let me just say before this goes any further, yes, of course, Irish people did play a role in the settler colonial process. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, can we please have the nuance, please?
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, people were jumping to serious extremes on that one and misrepresenting what was being said. But yeah, of course, Irish people did play a role in settler colonialism and did benefit from it over in the Americas and stuff like that, you know. But actually, Woke King had a great tweet about that. Woke King tweeted out and he was like, well, would you blame a Jewish person living in Germany for Israel? And you fucking wouldn't. You know, you really fucking wouldn't. So it's a little bit strange to kind of put like Irish Americans and Irish like as the same thing. Obviously there is an argument to be made there in terms of like participation within the imperialist European Union and the sort of neo-colonial projects that are going on there. So there is a conversation to be had there. And you and Zanzi, actually, shout out to that comrade Zanzi, and to that conversation you had. It was really, really good. You really added a lot of really needed nuance to this conversation, and I really appreciate you doing that. And so thank you for doing that, because this month I just haven't been able to.
Yeah, I'm glad people liked it. I mean, obviously, there was a conversation on Twitter about me being a chauvinist and pretty much transplaining Irish history, so that was a nice bit of discourse too. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever had a chauvinist position towards Ireland, so I don't know where the fuck that's
well, you know, I do think that the chauvinist is often it's a word that's kind of thrown around very carelessly. I think, you know, what does chauvinist mean? Like, chauvinist means like an extreme nationalist or an extreme supporter of whatever identity it is. You know, you can talk about like a male chauvinist as well. So someone who's just like really like belittling towards, you know, non-men or whatever, and you know, upholding masculinity. That'd be like a male chauvinist. But like you know, you also hear this about like Western chauvinists and that, which is, you know, someone who would like hold the West as being superior to the non-West. And this is just kind of thrown around as though this word doesn't have really any meaning. It's just like, I disagree with you, so you're a chauvinist. It's a little bit disingenuous, and you know, we got to be careful because these words do have actual.
You get that
meanings.
a lot.
I do get that a lot.
But you get that all the time.
Now.
I mean, yeah. No, I mean, in general, but of course, obviously, you being the art Western chauvinist, whatever,
colonizer,
colonizer, and everything. Yeah. No, I mean, you get it a lot on Twitter, don't you? You know, I think it's that whole kind of result of a culture of anonymity and short posting that just facilitates being aggressive.
Yeah, they wouldn't say this shit to you. Like, if you're having a conversation in person, if you're just sitting down having a chat, like, there's no way they say this sort of stuff to you. But like, because it's online.
Someone said that in real life, I get a smack. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course.
They would smack. Boom.
Yeah.
They won't say it.
Yeah. No, just not. No, you don't have any kind of, to my knowledge anyway, unless at some point in your life you had a different take, which I don't think you did. But you know, I've never heard you espouse anything even remotely resembling chauvinism. You're pretty anti-UK to the best of my knowledge, without breaking with democratic centralism, of course, of your organisation.
Obviously, I do have that secret tendency of Yorkshire chauvinism, so there is that, but that's base chauvinism. So.
Okay, yeah, York chauvinist.
That's okay. No, well, obviously, I mean,
it was good tansplaining,
up, actually.
No, it was good. It was good tansplaining, I have to say.
I'm happy to be. Yeah, that's it. The resident tansplainer coming here to explain your history for you and everything. You know,
no, you did a good job.
Why not?
You did a good job. I don't.
It's my degree topic, so I'd like to think I know a little bit about the subject. You know.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but it has been dredged up stuff before, obviously, my past political beliefs and stuff, because like way back, I'm sure we talked about this before. When I was like younger than 15, obviously I was supportive of UKIP and stuff, but like I was under 15 and growing up in quite a poor part of the north. Yeah. So it's like the only people who are big there on the streets are right wing groups, and obviously when I started thinking myself and that, I've come to you know, a socialist communist position and completely disavow all that. So it's like, yeah, I'll completely hold my hands up. When I was young, obviously I did have wrong ideas and all that kind of thing, but then you're right your wrongs, and you make sure that no one ever goes down that pipeline ever again. It's disgusting, and it's why mutual aid in the north and caring for communities from a communist perspective is absolutely fucking vile at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it is important that people are able to like rectify themselves and are able to correct their errors. You know, they're able to like
Hmm.
to use some Catholic kind of word like atone. You know.
Sorry, I'm a Protestant through and through, so I'll have none of this papism.
Apologies, that's my Irish chauvinism shining through.
Ah, there we go.
No, but yeah, I mean, it is important that, like, especially as communists, you know, like that's like one of the things that we do, like with crit and self-crit. It's like being able to
Mm.
own up and say, "Oh shit, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have held this view. That was a mistake." You know, I'm moving forward from there.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a weird hangover from
Understanding why people
liberalism
hold
where
these
people try
views as
to
well.
like cancel
Yeah.
each other like based on kind of silly stuff. Obviously, there are extremes, there are limits. You know, if somebody's like a fucking murderer, you know, or some kind of an abuser, then
Yeah.
that's fine. That's
And
fair enough.
maybe at that point, then yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, but I
But
mean, like,
like
if someone
someone
just
who,
has a different political opinion, although even I'm trying to say, like, even if someone has a different political opinion, I can definitely think of exceptions to that. You know, if someone's like, my different political opinion is like, they're a fucking like Nazi or something like that. It's like that's not really just a
yeah,
different political opinion, though, is it? Yeah,
that's quite wrong.
that's
You know,
that's
in
very
a
fucking
few
wrong.
levels, you know, that's not good.
Yeah. All right, self crit. That was bullshit. Never mind.
Well,
Fuck
I'm
everything I
thinking,
just said.
go.
Hey, here's a fun question. Alex asks Paul, is there any chance of conflict between the UK and Ireland due to the border complications with Brexit? There's always conflict between UK and Ireland. I mean, look at that's why we've got the occupied six
800
counties.
years.
The occupied six counties is conflict between the UK and Ireland. You know,
Yeah.
those are the UK state forces.
There's no legitimacy.
There's no
I mean,
legitimacy there.
it's currently said it, wasn't it? You know, Britain has no right in Ireland, never had any right in Ireland, and never will have any right in Ireland.
Exactly.
So, I mean, Connolly said this 100 years ago.
100 years ahead of his time, or maybe we're just 100 years behind our time. You know,
Shit.
the
That
thing
is
is,
depressing.
yeah, bleak. I mean, he's like talking about how, you know, the time for patching up the capitalist system has passed. It must go. Back then,
I've got that sticker on my computer actually from CYM. Looking at it right now.
It's so good. I hope I said it right. Actually,
amazing.
I hope I didn't fuck it up.
I have consulted the sources, and you are correct.
Class. Yeah, but I think the question is, do you think there's any conflict between the UK and Ireland? I mean, maybe I assume this is kind of like at a governmental level, like I mean, but Ireland doesn't really like have a competent like military force. You know, we're not going to see like Ireland and the UK like going to war with each other in this kind of like direct military conflict or anything like that. But
I think Ireland has like one tank in its army or something like that.
yeah, as if. Yeah, no, it's not gonna be taking on anyone anytime soon at all. There's definitely gonna be like civil war and civil conflict and all that sort of stuff. You know, the loyalists, the Republicans, so on and so forth. Like,
Absolutely.
it's already starting to kick off now. Because I think some of the loyalists are saying that the situation now with the six counties, the north of Ireland, Northern Ireland, as they call it, is sort of treated as though like it's economically united already with the so-called Republic of Ireland, the Free States, through basically being treated as though it's like it's part of the EU when, you know, it should have left the EU, and so they're really upset about that, and they're starting to, you know, to gather and they're starting to accelerate things and intensify. So there definitely is going to be some issues there. Honestly, I kind of suspect, I do expect and anticipate some kind of loyalists paramilitary action in the coming years, if not the coming months. And then I think in response to that, I think you're going to see the Republican paramilitary activity kicking off again. You know, because a lot of like Republican forces just have a no first strike kind of approach to it now. That's not to say
community defense. You know.
Yeah, well, it's like they haven't necessarily gone away. They're just kind of dormant. You know, and once there's like a shot fired, then, you know, shit's going to kick off again, and I think there's going to be some serious issues there.
Yeah, I think the loyalist groups have already said they've withdrawn support for the Good Friday Agreement.
That's
I
right.
think that came out just didn't it? Yeah,
it did. Yeah. So the peace process.
Obviously, it never went away.
Yeah,
you know. So, and the British state always backed the loyalists. You know, they arrested ones who were deemed too dangerous. You know, but for the vast majority of it, you know, the UDA and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
they were all backed by the British state and the British Army and the like of that. So
And
I
British
mean,
state
there wasn't
repression
the-
has actually accelerated as well and intensified quite recently. There've
yeah,
been a few cases, and it's actually it's massively disturbing to see this kind of intensification of British state violence against nationalist and Republican areas in Ireland. Actually, let me you go.
even in the
I'm
Free
just gonna
State as
find it.
well, though, you have the special courts out in the Calder Fit, something like that,
Yeah, that's right.
where you can just
The
arrest
special
people.
criminal court. Yeah, yeah. And the special criminal court is just an absolute joke. You can just arrest people, and whatever the guard says, whatever the police officer says, they can use against you as proof of and as evidence to lock you up. They don't have to tell you what they've done. Excuse me. They don't have to tell you what they're like charging you for. They can just take you in and charge you without giving you a chance to like prepare your sort of response to it, to your justification for whatever happened, and you don't even know what happened, so it's a but
Yeah.
it's a really fucked up system. It should not exist. You don't have the right to remain silent, which I think is the big one that people get really fucking surprised about. You literally the so-called right to remain silent gets revoked if you don't answer a question. They will take that as an affirmative response. So for example, if they ask you, I don't know, did you commit this crime? And you just don't say anything, they'd be like, we'll take that as yes. And that's deemed like valid evidence. It's fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it was a response as well, wasn't it? Because obviously the Republicans, they never recognised the legitimacy of the Free State in its courts, and obviously to participate in a trial is to legitimise the system. So
Yeah.
it's weaponised their own tactic against them.
That's right, yeah.
Say anything, that's it, you're guilty. You've done it all, and they've done it for since the 50s, I think. Now, I think the 1950s it first came in around then.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fucked.
Jesus Christ, it's so fucked. I'm trying to find this. I can't find this this video. There's a little video from an organization recently demonstrating the the recent state repression in the north of Ireland. There's a particular state that's been like they're just like literally just kicking down doors in the middle of the night, harassing people. Breaking in the middle. Oh yeah, here's where it is. Cregan. The Cregan. They call it the Cregan invasion, March 2021.
Right.
Happened in Derry, in the north of Ireland, and the people just their doors are just kicked in. This whole family's just like thrown out. The state forces just for no fucking reason, for no fucking reason, just harassing nationalist areas being like Republican or Indigenous people areas, and it's just horrific. It's horrific to see that this is intensifying and accelerating. It's like it's the sort of thing that you heard about sort of before like the civil rights kind of movements kicked off here, sort of we're talking like the late 60s, early 70s here, before the Troubles really
69, I think is when it first kicked off, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And then things really intensified and accelerated into the Troubles and the armed struggle and all this sort of stuff. So there's a return, there's a backslide into that sort of stuff, and it's really troubling to see. And I think there's going to be a lot more of that as we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of like, just succinctly answering the question, I think there's always been conflict in Ireland. There's going to continue to be conflict in Ireland, but it's not going to be like Britain invading Ireland or some shit like that. That's too open. It'll be working through paramilitary organisations, working with the Free State to harass Republicans in an anti-democratic and oppressive way that you wouldn't see anywhere else across. The West anyway, just because of that relation of Ireland being under that triple lock of imperialism and its status as being under occupation by the British as well.
Yeah.
So there's going to be conflict in Ireland, absolutely no doubt. But it's going to be more similar to say the Troubles than to what you see. A war between Britain and France or something like back in the 19th century.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. There's a few comments here. People have said here, Michael Prentice asked what my opinion is on Ciru. Ciru is the organization. Ciru, maybe I'm mispronouncing that. A few people pronounce it differently. I've heard it pronounced different ways. It's an organization that's kind of there's this idea like persona non grata, like not welcome kind of person. You can't really talk about Ciru because they're so tarred and tarnished by the horrific and unfortunate and tragic deaths of Lyra McKee maybe 2 years ago at this stage. And my computer's acting up there, sorry. So it's really tragic. What happened? Obviously, these kids got a gun, had a gun. They tried to fire at the police. They ended up shooting this young activist and an LGBTQ plus activist as well. And this was kind of this is obviously a horrific event. Unfortunately, this horrific event does end up getting kind of taken up by a reactionary establishment. They tried to sort of make this like an anti-LGBTQ plus thing. So it's like these backwards
Jeez.
kind of. Oh,
What's that?
sorry, my computer's acting up. I apologize for the.
Thought your computer blowing up for a second there or something like. Okay.
I think there's an issue with my sound card at the moment. I think it needs to be updated, and
Right.
I'm not sure. So I apologize for that. Hopefully it'll remain kind of stable. Anyway, yeah. So
Ignoring it, go away.
let's just hope that it goes away. We got through 45.
Manifest it.
Let's manifest it. Yeah, and let's hope for the best. Hopefully,
I'm just gonna get a drink.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I'll keep going on. Yeah. So anyway, Ciro, you can't really talk about them without this question coming up, and yeah, I suppose like the backlash then is like, will you condemn them? Will you say this? And that's all people want to hear, rather than actually talking about their politics, which is. You know, it kind of it puts up a barrier to giving like a sober-headed analysis of who they are and what they're doing, what their constitution is, what they actually talk about, their program as being these socialist Republicans, their understanding of imperialism, their understanding of socialism, all these kinds of things, their understanding of physical force republicanism and the armed struggle, and how that process works. So it's a complicated one. I can't give like a concrete answer right now. You'd have to ask like specifically what do you think about their position on this or their policy on that, and then I can give you a more concrete answer. But aside from that, I'll just say that it's an organization that has such a bad reputation as a result of the death of their McKee, which was obviously a massive tragedy. But unfortunately, some reactionary forces also opportunistically and very manipulatively ran with that event and tried to use that to support a very, very reactionary agenda as well. So, you know, you need to be kind of measured about these things and to just take it easy and have a clear-headed, sober analysis and approach to these kind of questions, you know. So yeah, and a few comments here. People saying that the loyalists are fascists. Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of fascist elements. There were a lot of fascist policies that they were promoting. They were talking about like ethnic genocide, or ethnic cleansing, really, genocide of the nationalist population. Like openly
been going out since the 1500s.
Yeah,
well, you know, with the plantations.
Yes,
in the Ulster plantation, they did that. They did do ethnic cleansing today.
Yep, absolutely. So there's a ton of fascistic policies there, and it's definitely very much this reactionary force. So by most definitions of fascism, they would definitely fit that. Most definitions, I can't say all definitions because there are lots of different definitions of fascism, but they definitely do fit them based on the definitions that communists.
At the very least, fascistic elements. Something, if you do want to read about the situation in the north of Ireland before the Troubles, War in an Irish Town by Eamon McCann, I think it is, covers it expertly. It's brilliant, and just describing obviously the state of like second-class citizens and the like of, you know, the nationalist population being second-class citizens, and the nature of the Orange State as being entirely anti-democratic. It's obviously a story as well, a hopeful story of the civil rights movement and people rising up against it. It's an amazing book. The chapters are not laid out very well, though. I think you had 2 chapters about like over 100 pages long. It's ridiculous. It's not like helpful when you're like trying to find a good place. Yeah, it's not helpful when you're trying to find a good place to sit your book down at night or something. But it's a fucking amazing read. And it has a really great section at the end just describing the Irish struggle since the Norman conquest, and it is succinct in the fact it's 100 pages and it's covering 800 years, but it's expertly done. So if you do want to read about the situation then and how elements of that are starting to come back in a kind of way, do read that.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd also recommend there's 2 very, very good videos over on Anti-Imperialist Action Ireland's channel, Anti-Imperialist Action Ireland. The first one's just called What is Loyalism, Part 1. And then What is Loyalism Part 2. You can check them out about last month and this month. They're very, very good. I think each video is about 15 minutes long. I put a little link in the chat there. Excellent videos.
Very well made.
Very
Incredibly well made as well.
Yeah, AIA has their shit together. They're
Oh God, yeah.
Their
know what they're
media
doing.
their media game is really fucking on point, and they're putting it seriously good.
Cheers
Irish
to that,
Republican,
comrades.
yeah. Cheers to the comrades in AIA. Actually, I'll have a drink to that. Mm. They have a really solid Marxist analysis, a really solid Irish Republican analysis, and it's great to see. And they also make that link as well with fascism, and they explain how this fits into the Marxist understanding of what fascism is. So it's great to see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. Magic Police asks, does the Irish government make an explicit territorial claim to the 6 counties? No, I don't believe it does anymore. I believe it used
They
to
used to.
until the
Yeah.
Good Friday agreements and the sort of mid 90s when I think they dropped it down. Before then they did, and the intention was very much
Officially claimed it, but they absolutely abandoned the Republican struggle in the North just
Yeah.
entirely. Like,
yeah,
as
free
soon as
staters.
the civil rights, as soon as it turned to violence,
Yeah.
in terms of when the loyalists were attacking, um, nationalist communities, and they were faced with no option at the end of the day but to defend themselves by arms. The Free State abandoned them, and the Free State was founded on by abandoning the North anyway. So it was always just a token in their constitution rather than an actual political commitment to reunify Ireland. So I mean, just the fact they dropped it, I guess, nothing changed materially. Nothing.
Tragically, yeah. Tragic situations. Thank you very much. Take a few more questions. I missed a few questions. There were a few questions asked before, so we'll take a little look at those now. Furore Productions asks, Paul, this one's mainly for Socialist Swann, so Josh, let's go. But
Okay.
Paul can also join in. Thank you for the shout.
If you want, you're more than welcome to. As the host, you can speak every now and then.
Well, let's see how this question goes, and then we'll consider it.
Okay.
Should England and other, in quotation marks, former empires, when they turn socialist, give reparations to their former colonies? I like when as well, not if. Beautiful. So what do you think? Reparations?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, the amount of suffering that the British Empire caused on, the third of the world that it occupied, and obviously so many more territories beside that. Absolutely, there has to be some kind of distribution of wealth back to the ex colonies, especially because Britain's wealth was built on the back of their resources and their labour, and oftentimes their slave labour as well. So for us to continue having this privileged life under a socialist Britain would be to still continue that colonial relationship of being built on the back of that exploitation. So there has to be, there has to be reparations and giving back to those countries has to be at the forefront of any socialist policies in Britain. 100%. We're not chauvinists here. We don't want to perpetuate any kind of pro-empire talk or the relationships that built empire. We have to dismantle them 100%, break down the imperial connections, and help the rest of the world along with socialism as well. Because probably by that point, I guess a lot of these countries that were under British rule would probably be socialist by that point anyway, just because of the way that revolution tends to work out. I mean, I doubt would be the first. I doubt Britain would be the vanguard of global revolution, as much as I would absolutely fucking love it to be.
Please explore revolution if you do.
Please, oh God, we'll be at the forefront of that. I mean, I'd love to, but I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon, comrades. So please don't get your hopes up about that. So yeah, I mean, any kind of reparations would also be aid in the cause of international socialism. So it would benefit us in return as well, because you wouldn't have to live in a state of siege socialism, and say the likes of USSR had to do and stuff like that. We'll be able to be vibrant and fun community of socialist nations and help them along as well.
That sounds great. You know what whenever I think this, one of the kind of key moments for me and kind of coming to a left-wing consciousness was, I think I was 17 or 18, and I went on a little trip to London. Got one of those little Ryanair tickets for like nine quid. I went over, but I went over with myself and my partner. She and I went to the London Museum, British Museum, excuse me, the British Museum in London.
It's not British.
And yeah, well, this is it. I looked in there and I remember just seeing like all this Irish stuff all this Irish stuff everywhere, and I was like, what the fuck is this doing here? Like, why don't we
Give
have
it
this in our
back.
museums? Why give us that shit back? Why did you take
Yeah.
this from us? And then
Make Irish museums good again.
and that's just a small piece of it. But like then you go into like the Egyptian section and the Greek section and like all these ancient, civilizations, and you're just like, holy shit, how much did they fucking take from me? You look at the
I mean, the
mummies.
Rosetta Stone as well. Like
The Rosetta
amount.
Stone.
I mean,
Jesus
it's absolutely
Christ.
crucial to our modern understanding of hieroglyphics. The Egyptian writing form. And it's
Give
not in
that shit
Egypt. Is it
back.
fucking brilliant? Yeah, give it back.
Just give it back. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why would? Yeah, of course. Any people's government would have to give it back. No doubt about it. Jesus Christ. And like that would just.
And obviously,
benefit all
we're
these
not
countries
going to
as
have a
well,
fucking
tourism.
monarchy. We're not going to have fucking monarchy under socialism as well. So all the jewels that are in the crown, belonging to Queen, that are all nicked out of South Africa and India, they can fucking go back too. Have them, please. Please take them. We don't want a monarchy under socialism. We don't want to keep the crown jewels either. In fact, we'll probably melt them down and sell it off to a rapid industrialization in the north again.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good idea. Yeah, no, definitely give them back reparations. Very, very good. Let's keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you very much. Next question I see here, Ben. Okay, Ben, don't talk about China. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Yes, we will not talk about China. But I'm curious what happens.
The mods better enforce it on the front line.
Yes, Jesus fucking Christ, we're not talking about China. No, we're not doing it. But I'm curious what happened in the after stream discussion that you made it private by the time I could watch it. I understand it got brigaded. Oh, that after stream discussion. Actually, it wasn't so bad. Actually, it was just it. We intended on making that private from the start. If you have a look at the original video, the video on China, you can hear at the end of it, we literally say, let's do another stream that will set the private straight after. We're just going to talk some shite. We're just going to answer questions, drink, have some fun, take it easy. And we did that. There was nothing of substance. There was nothing good in that stream, in the after stream. So like we were just like, okay, we'll just set it private. It's not a big deal. It doesn't matter. And so we did that just straight away. As soon as it was off the air, we just set it private. So that was all it was. Although I had to kind of give pause to the idea of making it private after that little fucking clip went on Twitter, because it was totally disingenuous. They just like clipped like the worst sounding part of what I said and what we said, and I was just like, oh shit, what? Yeah, they had to fucking leave out the part where I said support Cuban liberation, support them against U.S. imperialism, support Che Guevara, uphold them as great communists, support their internationalism, support them. But no, like this one shitty part where there was some language that was kind of vague that shouldn't have been used. I know Premier Lies, I know Matthew kind of used the term like plantation, which has two meanings. One of the meanings for plantation is of course just like a patch of crops where you grow your crops, and that was the context that Matthew was using it. Like it became like he said that Cuba became a sugar plantation of the USSR, which they just to grow sugar there and to export it. And there's this conversation to be had about neocolonialism and so on and so forth. And of course, there is the other definition of plantation, which is literal, like think about settler colonialism, which was not what was meant at all. But out of context, it definitely sounds like that, and it's not good. So it was very badly worded. It was a dumb fucking thing to say, especially without any kind of context. There were a lot of points involved.
I only heard that clip from that bit as well. I thought it sounds fucking terrible.
It sounds fucking terrible.
The thing about saying America and the Soviet Union were basically the same.
No, that's some Three Worlds theory shite. No. Yeah, and like
so,
we did elaborate,
context, like you say.
We did elaborate on this more. We did elaborate on this more. Afterwards, and we did talk about it a little bit more afterwards. But yeah, definitely, it sounded like shit, and yeah, my bad. But I didn't fucking think.
Fair enough for holding your hands up, So.
I'm gonna hold my hands up and say that sounds really fucking bad, and I should not have said that. But if anyone wants to know like more,
we look self-crit here.
Yeah, well, if people want to know like more about this kind of discussion about like neocolonialism and neocolonial relations, then yeah, I can recommend some like papers that people can read and to check out more and to hear this analysis in depth with more nuance, more of a fairer nuance.
I think it's perfect with the arguments, even if you do disagree, just to we always believe in critical support as Marxists, and therefore we have to understand the failings as well as the great successes that Cuba has done. So it's even if you don't agree with it, and obviously I think you can recognise.
I do critically support them, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. We should all be supporting Cuba. It is under an embargo by the US.
Fuck the embargo, yeah, absolutely. And like I'll do it like
So
absolutely. It's a horrific genocidal embargo. It's absolutely terrible.
maybe
So,
it's a follow-up video worth as well, just clarifying as well.
yeah,
I don't
but
know if you got enough time for that,
yeah,
you know.
kind of. I'll have to see if I
But
have
any
time at
kind of
some
critique
stage.
there, I think looks bad, more bad in the USSR than it does on Cuba.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah. Well, well,
as
that's
the
the thing.
country
Like,
got in power,
well, that's kind of the thing. It was never to say that like Cuba were exploiters or anything like that. It was that Cuba was
yeah, yeah.
being exploited, and which I think is an important distinction to make. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, even that needs to be teased out and to be discussed in a lot more
He
detail.
needs nuance. He can't. I mean,
Because there's
having
obviously a lot
something
more.
that's so sensitive,
And
don't
it's
have a
totally
pint.
not fair to say that like there were no gains, there were no benefits other than just like being able to vote or something like that. Because there were incredible advancements and people's lives were improved in innumerable ways. And in terms of like
I
the
mean, the democratic system
international.
they did entirely, yeah.
That was great. It was great that people could vote. I mean, we should never take that away. But there were many other gains. I mean, just in terms of like healthcare, in terms of like basic social services, there's a lot to love. There's a lot to support, and we need to support that. And we have to support that. So yes, I just want to clarify. I do fucking support Cuba big time. That's separate from the question of whether or not I think that they achieved socialism by the definition of socialism that I would use. But I do support them as a progressive movement, and I think that's. I just want to highlight that again right now. But yeah, I think it was a little bit unfortunate that they took that exact clip
Sloppy,
and ran
I
with
think,
it.
on that part. But as long as you hold your hands up, recognise what went wrong, and you obviously we all know you do support Cuba as an Irish Republican as well. On
course,
that base level,
Yeah.
the solidarity between the Cuban and the Irish struggle goes way back, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You
Oh
just
yeah,
see
yeah,
the
big time.
murals.
Well, the thing is, like, of course we support national liberation struggles. Of course we support people fighting for freedom. It's absolutely like nobody has any illusions about Palestine. Nobody has any illusions about that. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily like a one-to-one comparison, because obviously Cuba is a very, very progressive state and so on and so forth. And there were communists and all sorts of stuff. But like nobody's sitting here going like Palestine is socialist, so we need to support them as like as a socialist liberation thing. Like, no, we support Palestinian liberation as like a separate thing. We recognize the oppression and we can support
The
that.
basic fucking thing of not liking imperialism and colonialism, I think, at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. So of course we absolutely support them. No fucking doubt about it. So yeah. Anyway, that's my little bit there. Ben, that's the reason. It was always meant to be private, but yeah, that little clip that got taken out of context, and it sounded bad.
So
anyway.
can we clip this bit now?
People are definitely going to clip this and run off with it in a million different directions. But well, anyway, look, that's gonna happen. Who cares? I just don't. Well, I don't mean who cares. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I haven't really been able to be online that much this month because it's just been such a fucking shit show IRL in real life with my fucking mom and family shit. So I was just like, yeah, fuck this. block everybody. Log out.
Fucking hole.
So yeah. Anyway, let's see if we've got any more questions here in the chat. Let's see what people are saying.
Got some vibes. Some political here.
What's that? Say that again.
Can we have some vibes? Because we're getting very serious and political.
Yeah, we need to have some fun. Well, just a quick comment here. Siddharth Raj says India is turning fascists. She needs all the help she can get, no question. But I just want people to be aware. Thank you for the comment, for raising awareness of this issue. Yeah, I know there are serious issues with like the Modi government. It's a massive issue. It's a massive problem, and people need to be very, very critical and to fight back. And at least the workers are rising up. But unfortunately, I think last I checked, the approval rating for the Modi government was still like worryingly high. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that the masses are rising up.
That's the nature of populism, though, isn't it? It's what they prey on, isn't it? So
yeah,
I mean, obviously the big farmers' protests and the general strikes are very promising, and also what's going on in what's the place called again now? With the Maoists.
Oh, the Maoists and like the Red Corridor.
Yeah. Obviously that's promising as well.
Yep. Although I think that's getting smaller as well, which is it's kind of. It's not going as well as we'd like,
But there is resistance, and hopefully that can be built on.
Well,
hopefully,
yeah. It's been going on for a long time. Let's see how things go. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Magically's quotation marks. Cuba is imperialist. Paul Martin. Yes, direct quote. That's what I said.
Yep, 100% absolutely correct. Follow the immortal Paul Maurin line. Cuba is imperialist.
Marxism, Leninism, Marinism. Yeah. Oh god, cringe. And also Matthew also says, what software do you guys use to edit your videos? Me, I use, let me see, what do you call it? Premiere Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro. I recently swapped over to Premiere Pro and After Effects, so the two of them are what I use to edit videos. What about you, Comrade Swann?
Well, I have a bone to pick with you fucker.
Oh,
so you know that link you sent me?
Yeah.
For the torrent.
Yeah.
So I decided to download this Premiere Pro, obviously completely legally, 100% legally.
Yeah. I obviously sent you a legal link. What?
Legal link, 100%. I got 42 Trojans on my fucking laptop.
No, really?
Downloading that. 42. Right?
Yeah, but wait, so, you have like an antivirus or something, don't you?
Yeah, So, but some of them got through, right? So, like,
the antivirus gets rid of all that. It's okay, isn't it? Fuck.
Nah. It went worse. So anyway, they got access to my Facebook.
And
they converted a page that I used when I was like 11. Like that I just made out of nowhere and turned it into like one of those scam pages. And they started buying Facebook ads. And it cost me 25 quid.
No fucking way.
So I had to change all my passwords, absolutely everything. How do you know everything got changed?
Well, how do you know that was from the? How do you know that was from the legal torrent?
Well, I mean, I can't think of anything else I downloaded around the time. Other than
I didn't get any of that. I don't know what you're on about. And also, a prominent YouTuber who I will not name also passed that legal torrent link onto me, and they got on just fine.
Why did I get fucked then? I don't know. Maybe the legal torrent just decided to not shine upon me that day, and it did me in.
That's fucked. That's so crazy.
So yeah, I don't use Premiere Pro. I use something called. Let me just
wait. If you've already got the torrent, if you've already got the Trojan horses, you may as well fucking use the software. You've paid the pipe.
It didn't download.
It didn't download.
It's so weird. The download, it just brought me Trojans.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I didn't even get the fucking
the
fruit with me labour, you know. So, so yeah, I had to contact the guys, the IT team at university, to like fucking look at my laptop and just wipe them out. And he said, "You fucked up here, mate." When he saw the 42 Trojans. Oh my god.
Oh,
so anyway, the one that I do use is called OpenShot Video Editor. I just found it on the internet.
You think that's more reliable
than
our legal?
So far, yes. So far, yes.
Well, I'm hurt. I'm hurt that you would.
No, it's a little bit annoying because like when I try to watch the video back on this editing thing, it just crashes all the time. So it's like I have to export the video and then I watch it back after about an hour of exporting to see if I made any mistakes. Yeah. And it's happened so many times. I've like used like a video clip in the GDR series, and I didn't turn the sound off. So it's like I'll be there talking on my old microphone at that time, so I was very quiet. And halfway through the video, you'll just hear this fucking blaring speeches from like Eric Honecker or something like that, like full volume, breaking your eardrums. And it's just like, oh, I mean, it is kind of bass, yeah, a little bit. But I think that there should be at least some kind of warning there saying, you know, maybe unplug your headphones. So then it's just really fucking long. So I have to go back and like, you know, edit it again and wait another hour for the video to export. And it's just like, so it's a little bit annoying. Yeah. Maybe I'll try the Adobe Premiere again with the completely legal link, and maybe it'll give me better fortune next time. But yeah, that's the problem I had earlier on this month, and it didn't help a lot. It brought a lot of unneeded stress.
Well, I'm sorry to self-crit then, I suppose. I'm sorry. If
another self-crit moment.
Another self-crit moment. Yeah. If it was indeed the link
that taking the L,
that I allegedly sent you, which allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, so yeah, I never actually got this one yet. I just got it from an unknown benefactor. I don't know whatever the word is.
Well, it doesn't make sense. Well, okay, no, I'm not gonna get into the details of how that legal.
I don't know tech, mate. You know that I'm a complete fucking troglodyte when it comes to anything techie. So
yeah, no, it's just it doesn't make sense to me. You should check the download files. Do you still have the downloaded file on?
I deleted it. I completely wiped it out. I was like, fuck that. Nope, I'm out.
God, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. You got scared. You ran away. No, you shouldn't have done that. You should have kept it there.
I should have stood in the face of fear. You know,
You should have. You should have stood in
defied
the face
it.
of fear. You should have just said, "Okay, they've got access to my Facebook. They're spending all my money. Just power through it.
Carry on. Who will win in the end?
Don't be a coward.
It's a protracted struggle.
Stand up to it.
War against the fucking hackers.
Just get the old antivirus and just scan it, delete all the.
Well, the thing is, though,
threats.
so I was like, I tried to use my antivirus then, but I think they must have disabled it somehow because my AVG just stopped working. Like it just wouldn't do anything.
AVG isn't that the one where they actually put viruses on your computer to test them? That's the free one, isn't it?
Yeah, I had the free one. Yeah,
the free one. That free one. I remember. My wife was telling me to get that on my phone, and I remember looking into it, and they apparently, like, one of the terms and conditions of using it. Now, I could be talking out my hole now. This is something I remember looking up a number of years ago. But what I can remember is that they test all of the software that it's downloaded onto. They test like different viruses and different malwares on those, or at least they can do it. I don't know if it's confirmed that they do it, but they can do that, and that's kind of the, that's how they make it free. That's how they make it free. Like they can gather this information and see what viruses are malicious and how we can
I really didn't know
combat
that.
them. And
Interesting.
yeah, so basically, there's that thing like if you're not paying for products, then you are the product. I think that's very much coming through here. Like they're using your stuff and they're putting 42 Trojan horses on your stuff and
42. Don't downplay it.
And then 42, and then blaming El Pauly for sending you good
Not
stuff.
Paul, no, a very kind and generous benefactor. No, so the IT guys downloaded something new called like malware bytes or something. So I think that maybe that's better. It's free, but like the IT guys used it, so it must be.
Yeah, I don't know. He was
he did the job anyway. He got rid of it all. So
he was the Kaspersky one. It's pretty good.
Ooh, Russian.
Yeah,
are we shilling for Russia now?
Yep. Russia, Dominoes.
He was driving Russia on the socialist path.
Yep, absolutely. Let me see here. Here's some fun questions here. Jose Maria asks, "What are your thoughts on Peep Show and on Alan Partridge?"
Yes, what a fucking amazing show!
Peep Show is so fucking funny. Holy shit!
So good.
Jesus Christ, one of the funniest shows I've
I
ever
mean,
seen.
when I was younger, everyone was convinced that I was just like Mark because obviously I was like a history kid and just and like the whole thing in the first episode where it's like, hang on, what was it? About the Stalingrad thing?
I can't remember.
German
I need to watch it again.
army was surrounded, and he's trying to flirt with his girl, and he's doing it by talking about Stalingrad.
Oh Jesus Christ!
The Red Army shot 10,000 of their own men at Stalingrad. And all
I don't remember that scene. No, I haven't watched it in years.
Episode. Yeah, watch it again. It's fucking funny.
Yeah. I'll have to know. It's just a really, really great show. Jez is so funny.
Everybody has to fucking watch it. It's just a shame the guy who plays Jez, Robert Webb, he's a transphobe in real life, isn't he?
Really?
Or something like that. Yeah, he's a bit of a turf, I think.
What the fuck is it with these weirdo fucking comedians in Ireland and the UK and being transphobic? The fucking Father Ted guy as well, Graham Linehan. Just an absolute fucking weirdo. Why are you fucking obsessed?
Father Ted wrote himself.
Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You hate to see
Incredible.
it. I hate that. Yeah, what do they call it? Turf Island. Turf Island. They call the UK Turf Island.
Turf Island.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know about Graham Linehan. I don't know where he lives, but I don't know. Maybe if he lives in the UK, then that would work. But it's shit to see.
But yeah, we love Peep Show on this channel. We are big stans. We love to
big stans Peep Show. Alan Partridge.
I haven't watched so much Alan Partridge actually. I've seen the bit where he sings "Come Out Your Black and Tans."
That's class.
I think that's all I've really seen. Yeah.
I love that little video he has on the working class. He has like this little poem, the spoken word poem thing on the working class. If you look that up, it's deadly. It's really, really good.
Which one's that?
It's just like a little, I don't know, like 1 minute.
Is he by a canal in that one? He's talking about it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
class.
So good.
It's really fucking
legend.
It's moving in a weird way, because you just think it's kind of funny, but it's actually like really kind of like heartwarming.
Oh, it's powerful. Shit. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, we stand both of them on this channel.
Big fans of Peep Show and Alan Partridge. Obviously,
uncritical support.
fuck turfs, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, we don't have one critical spot for turf.
Yeah,
The rest,
a small amount of criticism for the shitty transphobic
tiny bit,
shit. Yeah,
but we ignore that. That's cringe and shit.
super cringe. Not based. We do not uphold that.
Mm.
Siddharth actually has another comment here. Modi government and all media is calling farmers terrorists. This government is showing genocidal intentions. We just turned away Myanmar refugees, first time in India. Oh, that's fucking shitty. That's really shitty to hear.
The
It says,
BBC did actually report on Myanmar, but they don't talk about India whatsoever. The BBC, which is not surprising.
yeah, I
from the
mean, given
BBC.
the history, they don't want to talk too much about what happened.
No,
Understandably.
they ignored a lot of Boris Johnson's old sex scandals that just came out as well, because he's been cheating on his wife that the BBC praised to high hell.
Well, I hadn't heard about this. This is the first time hearing about it.
Yeah, he just came out the other day that he's been cheating again, because he's done it for every single wife he's had. And the BBC, you check all of the BBC site, there's not a single article on it.
Right. Indeed.
Fucking Tory mouthpiece.
Tory mouthpiece, absolutely. Yeah, it's horrific to hear about what's going on there. It sounds very, very similar to what's going on in the Philippines with the red tagging of anyone kind of even slightly left-wing or progressive or Labour activists or LGBTQ plus activists and so on and so forth. They just get tagged, they get red tagged, they get called communists, and then they literally just get killed by state forces. It's fucking horrific. Had Bloody Sunday just maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago at this stage.
Jeez.
In the Philippines, and it's absolutely horrific, and it sounds like it's going in a similar direction in India. So yeah, fight fascism, fuck that stuff. Forget about
Absolutely.
it.
And then we should all try and educate ourselves on the struggles that are going on there. I mean, again, I'll hold my hands up and say that I don't know masses about it, and that's to my personal shame, and I would like to learn. So if anyone does have any information on it, some good articles or something, do send them my way on Twitter. My DMs are open. Just send them over, and I'm happy to educate Sen about it.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that you will send them on to me afterwards.
Well, yeah. I mean, I should think, obviously there are 2 on this stream, so if they're sending it to me, that might be a snub towards you.
You should definitely send them to you as well. My DMs are not open.
Oh, okay, that'd be why then.
They are not, but they are open to you. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if anyone sends me out, I'll be happy to pass it on to Paul.
Yeah, please do. Thank you.
And then I won't.
Libya Jamaharaya says, Harry Comrade could say, have you seen the 2 Mao Poggers image? 2 Mao Poggers image? No, I haven't seen the 2 Mao. I've seen the Maugers image. It's like
Maugers.
Yeah, like Mao Poggers just says Maugers instead, and it's just like Mao, just doing like this kind of face. It's like wow kind of face.
Poggers face.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe you can send that on, Comrade.
He always asks as well. He asked us to say Poggers and PogChamp on stream. So there you go. I just said it for you.
Loves that. Poggers.
I'm happy. We fulfilled your quota. You can leave the stream now. You're free.
Yeah, absolutely. You're free to go. Joseph J says, how do I introduce my reactionary family members to leftist ideas? Now, this is a cool question. It's interesting. It depends on how, like, what they're reactionary about.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers. Yeah, I'll have a little drink there. Most I find that, well, I don't know how it is where you are. I don't know what country you're in, what the particular context is, but most people are pretty amenable to socialist economic stuff. Just as long as you're not using the jargon and terminology. You just talk about like having like a government for the working class, and people are just like, yeah, that sounds great, and like you're just basically talking about the dictatorship, the proletariat, and stuff like that, and people are pretty. Just
don't say dictatorship of the proletariat.
Don't
just
fucking
don't.
Say.
Please.
Never fucking say that ever. It is a very bad for people who I generally rail against people who complain about optics all the time, but yeah, it's probably not a great term to use. Working class governance, that usually works pretty well. I suppose power. Well, it also probably depends as well, like because if you've got kind of a family that is quite middle class or even upper class, like proper like bougie folks, then that might not work as well. In which case, look, don't worry about it. They're probably not the kind of people who you want to be talking to about socialism and communism.
That's interest at the end of the day, and you have to bear that in mind.
But if they are working
So
class, if they are working people, then you can very easily just start talking about the economic stuff. It's a harder sell on the social stuff, I will say. You know,
yeah, I was going to say that myself. Yeah.
it's a much harder sell. Like there's a lot of chauvinistic stuff there. Like when it comes to like social issues, reactionary, conservative, social issues, people can be very like LGBTQ plus phobic, racist, just very chauvinistic in many different kind of ways. And that's not as easy a sell. The economic issues are a much easier sell, I think, to start with.
If you word it right, it's very easy. A lot of the communities did come from trade union backgrounds, at least in
Yeah,
the north of England.
yeah,
Again, that's my circumstances. So they're very familiar with trade union politics and socialist politics as well.
yeah,
But
yeah,
obviously, there is a lot of social reactionaries there,
yeah.
and you have to bear in mind why that exists as well.
Mm,
Obviously, in our context, deindustrialization, it's much easier to blame your neighbour than it is to blame your boss,
mm,
or that kind of thing. And
mm,
obviously, a lot of people who are poor, who are working class, don't tend to spend so much time engaging with the LGBTQ plus community and the likes of that. They're not online as much, whereas so they kind of believe what, like, say, the Daily Mail or the Sun throws at them about migrants taking your jobs or the rise of like woke council culture and the like of that.
yeah,
So you have to bear in mind why they hold these opinions and not cancel them for it in a way. But obviously, do be very firm and do assert that you
yep.
do believe in liberation for all. I'm not saying be racist to bring them over to socialism
Oh
or
no,
some
fuck
shit
that.
like that at all. Fuck that. No, you do be very strong in your principles, but do realize it's a gradual process because these people have been indoctrinated into the capitalist system since day one.
Mm,
And we're all marked by the society that we grew up in at the end of the day.
yeah,
None of us are born a Marxist. So we do hold certain prejudices. We just have to be patient. You can win them over. And there is a great example of that in the miners' strike, which
mm.
happened. And have you seen the film Pride?
Brilliant film. Yeah, very very good.
Yeah, watch that film. It covers the process amazingly well.
Yeah.
But basically, there's this group called Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners who started sending money to the miners' strikes to, fund the strikes to keep them going. And a lot of branches refused to fund him because it was done by gay people. But then, they met the community, they engaged in the class struggle together, solidarity actions, and then when the London Pride was held the next year, it was backed by the National Union of Miners. They were the only trade union to actually send a delegation to the Pride Parade, but recognising the work that the Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners did for them. So it can be done. It can be a hard struggle. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
I've had to work through that myself with my family, but it can be done. Just be patient.
Yeah, well, you really do need to be very patient, and you also need to be prepared to answer what may seem like quite silly kind of questions. You need to be.
Mm.
It's very useful to compile like a little kind of FAQ for yourself of like what are the kind of things that people say, like under socialism people won't be motivated to do any work, without socialism we won't be able to innovate, the difference between personal and private property, just there's a lot of really kind of basic like kind of 101 level questions that people will throw at you when you start talking about socialism or communism.
I believe there's a comrade out there on the internet who's actually doing a series called Socialism 101.
He sounds like a dick. Sounds like he needs to do some self-crit. Sounds like a colonizer to me.
Yeah, don't bother listening to him.
Who does he think he is trying to educate people? What a grifter. No.
Fuck that. Nah, you brought off the masses at the earliest opportunity.
What a piece of shit.
You also puts virus on your computer.
42. And then he blames it on AVG, that proud proletarian anti-virus.
We stand our proletarian private companies.
Yeah.
It's communism.
What I will say is have the FAQs ready. Be prepared to answer what might seem like very 101 kind of questions. Someone will come at you and be like, oh well, why would we produce under socialism? Why would we innovate without competition? And then you can just throw at them like, did you realize that the first mobile phone was made in the USSR? You can just throw that kind of stuff.
Back in historical examples, and that's obviously something I tried to convey with my channel anyway.
Yeah.
Is giving that historical grounding to socialism.
Yeah, it's really useful.
So talk about the massive innovations in the USSR and what the GDR is doing as well in terms of rebuilding from a war-torn society
Yeah.
and being one of the most productive countries in the Eastern Bloc or the Socialist Bloc. I mean, I know some people might disagree with me there, but
Yeah, no,
it's
sure.
important to have that. I mean, obviously, we shouldn't dwell on history. We shouldn't make it like a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, an academic bit of interest, bourgeois interest in history should inspire future action and help us in our organizers. So it's say, we want this for our society today. And if someone says, oh, that can't work, you say, oh, it did work. You
Yep.
fall back onto the
got
example.
proof.
You bring it back to today and say, we can do it again. We can do it here. And that's why history is important. So it's not the be all and end all. So we shouldn't fucking divide the left or something on a historical debate on, did Stalin do the right decision back in 1930 somewhere about this? It's like you recognize history as it is. And if something went wrong, right that wrong in the future. You build on the past to create a socialist future. And that's what I try to do in my own little way on my channel anyway.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, so have the FAQs ready. Have the FAQs ready to go. Have a few historical examples ready to go. If not, I mean, you could always fall back on kind of, I know sometimes maybe it's slightly opportunistic, but you could fall back. You could try to appeal to people through figures like Corbyn, like your Bernie Sanders kind of characters and so on and so forth. And what did you think?
Maybe Corbyn's less so nowadays, just because he's so smeared in the media.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But Bernie Sanders is still, well, although supporting Biden, I suppose Bernie Sanders has been kind of, people have been turning away from Bernie Sanders as well,
I mean, to be honest, Sanders was never a Corbyn figure, I mean, Corbyn was still a left of Sanders.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, he was.
But as a starting point, yeah, excellent, use them. It's just favour towards me. And Corbyn isn't really the one, but if you're trying to win someone over to the left,
yeah,
the left tend to like him anyway. But obviously Labour lost the 2019 election massively. Right. Corbyn was massively unpopular, so I wouldn't refer to Corbyn personally unless you're already on the left,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right, I've got a few questions written here. Actually, here's a nice one. Here's a fun one. Chill. Not serious, just chill, taking it easy.
Oh, we're fucking chilling. The barman's just brought another 2 pints over. I don't know. How many people are viewing? How many people are viewing?
We have 92 at the moment.
Working very fucking hard, and he's just poured 92 pints for us. So,
well, cheers.
Thank you. At least a little bit of a tip,
Let's have a drink.
What's the name of our barman? What's his name? Because obviously we've got to know his name. We're regulars.
James.
James, the one and only.
Big Jim.
We secured the fucking contract. We said at the start of the stream, we're working on the collaboration. He's here. He's in the two Tankies pub.
He was giving us the wink. That's why he was giving us a wink.
Yeah.
Earlier on.
Because he knew.
He knew this was coming.
He shaved his mustache to disguise himself because he didn't want to get surrounded by the paparazzi. But we know.
And he gives us a little wink to make sure that we didn't know. He was like, do you know who we are? Yeah.
But it's like, we know only one man who can win like that and look at us smugly. You picture way. He's like, come on, you fucking all that.
Didn't I tell you? I did, so I did, so I did.
That's the one. He's there at the bar. He knows.
Smug, seductive James Connolly, looking at us. Yeah.
Oh man.
Here's a nice one. Come here to me. Ghost Ramen, and thank you very much, Ghost Ramen. A little non-political question: what are your hobbies you like to do in your free time? So, I'll let you take that, Josh. What are your hobbies? What do you do in your spare time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I did before the pandemic. I did a lot of like martial arts and stuff. I actually got to 3rd degree black belt, if that's impressive for you. So I can hold me up in a fight, I mean, it's an important skill. Obviously, I did it way back in the day as well. I used to do cadets when I was a chauvinist. So all that kind of thing. But right now, I enjoy going for long walks. I like reading. And I also, it feels like I'm doing a fucking Tinder bio or something. And also, obviously, my main hobby is just doing like model making and stuff. I do actually have a separate YouTube channel based on it, which select people know about. It's been going for 8 years now.
It's impressive.
So yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a commitment. I mean, it's not massive. It's only got about just under 600 subs, I think. But yeah, it's a nice little thing I do on the side. So yeah, I do models on like World War II and stuff. Right now I'm working on like a Soviet and a German army. I think I said in the last stream I was going to paint you up a Stalin, and that offer is still very much open.
Please,
if you would like it,
make it happen.
Yeah, I'll get it sent over to you, mate, when I have the time. Yeah, I just painted a T-34 the other day, actually, which is quite fun. You know, classic tanky.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's really nice. It's just chilled out and stuff, and it's nice to, like, you know, sit down at the end of the day after working quite hard. You know, putting on a podcast or maybe even a Paul Morgan stream for a chance.
Oh,
and just
this.
I know. And I listen to myself, you know, like an absolute egoist or something. Yeah, just painting away. So if anyone does want a chill hobby and stuff, and to feel a nice bit of creativity in that, yeah, just painting models. It's really nice. Complete. I mean, it's expensive at first. Once you got all your stuff, you're set. You know.
Yeah.
What about yourself then? What do you like to do in your free time? Imagine you're on Tinder, although of course you do have a wife.
Imagine I'm on Tinder. Let me just have a drink and like sort of show my wedding ring off as I do it.
Oh, flex.
Flex that there. No, I'm people are sometimes surprised to hear that I'm married. I'm not fucking around on Tinder, and I can't be fucking around. Jesus, I can't even imagine being single. What a pain in the hole it'd be to be single. Jesus Christ, the fucking hassle.
Can we not bring up the single problem, please?
Especially with fucking you know, like with COVID. I can't imagine being single during COVID. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This probably sounds very, very rude.
It's hard.
It sounds very rude. But
first year, I've gone on dates all the time and everything, and just like speak like a lot of people. Now it's like you can't fucking meet anyone. Like, what are you supposed to do now? I don't stand a chance.
And like you're trying to meet someone, you're trying to disinfect everything. You got like a little hand sanitizer, and you're sanitizing your hands. But what about everything else? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you fucking like?
Halfway through, just quickly get the hand sanitizer out.
Give me 10 minutes. I need to have a little fucking hand sanitizer shower before we.
It's too bad.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know how you do it. It's a salute and a drink to all the comrades who are
the single kings.
Yeah, who were powering through. Yeah, so
the real struggle.
The real struggle,
most oppressed society.
Mate, free time. I literally don't even fucking remember the last time I had free time.
Like, imagine having free time is bourgeois. You heard
free
it here
time is
first.
Totally fucking bourgeois. No. I do sometimes.
Like, you do the real.
No, I don't.
Skipping work to do hobbies.
I go for walks. I do go for walks. I do. There's a little park near me, and I do go for a few little walks there, and that's when I get to listen to some nice podcasts or audiobooks or all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks, listen to stuff like Rev Left Radio, things like that.
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic. Brett's amazing. Red Menace podcast.
Have you seen the Irish History podcast as well? It's on Spotify. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, I've got the bookmarked, but I haven't actually listened to it yet. Everybody said it's great, but I haven't.
Yeah, they did a really good series on the Great Hunger, the famine. Obviously, a lot more hopeful stuff as well. You know, like just from the occupation in the 1100s through to today. It's fucking amazing. I recommend it.
Yeah, definitely check that out. I'll add that to the old list. There.
I think the guy's a leftist as well. Like he's on the left quite firmly, so that's always nice as well.
Is that's not the same person who has like the Irish History YouTube channel? Because there's an Irish History YouTube channel, and there's the guy's
YouTube channel.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel where it goes through like Irish Revolutionary history. I think the guy might.
He's from Castle Comer, I think. I think that's where he's from. He talks about Castle Comer anyway.
Maybe it's I don't know if maybe it's a different guy. I don't know. This guy's like an anarcho-syndicalist or something like that. But it's pretty good.
I don't think he's an anarcho-syndicalist. He doesn't say his ideology. You can just tell he's quite on the left.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Right, yeah.
But he's really fucking good. Yeah.
Well, it's hard not to be on the left. Yeah, learning about Irish history, to be honest. At least, you know, Republican left.
Imagine reading about the IRA and stuff and becoming like, you know, far right. I mean, what? Don't be a fucking blue shirt. Don't do that.
So fucking stupid. How could you? It's not possible. Like you just can't uphold the IRA and be like fucking. It's just I don't know. It makes no sense to me. Like, but I mean, fascism is totally incoherent, contradictory ideology. So yeah, forget about it.
It's not known for being sound.
Yeah, it never has been and never will be. I'm afraid. It's whatever capital demands it to be. You know. Yeah, fascism shit. I was reading that one, but no.
I'll take the night, by the way.
I'm sure people will be clipping that bit out.
Cancelled on Twitter. Fascism bad.
Oh no!
I'm letting down the red fascist label, aren't I? As some people might call us in the two Tankies.
Shit. People won't. we're gonna lose all that mad fascist money.
Big fascism.
Big money fascism, yeah. Big fat fascism's paying out.
Shit, there goes my Patreon.
There goes, yeah, 10% Patreon drop off right away. No, but no, I'm trying to think of hobbies that I have. I literally, this is what I do. If I'm not doing this, then I am probably, at this point, I've just been like taking care of my mom, walking the dogs, going to the park.
What breed dog do you have?
Actually, they're mixed. They're they're not like, you can get dogs that are like bred, and you can get dogs that are like kind of saved rescue dogs from like the SPCA.
Yeah.
We got the rescue dogs, so we got the rescue dogs.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
one of them's kind of
a
small.
bulldog.
You've a bulldog.
Chauvinist.
British
bulldog.
That's funny.
He's gorgeous. I love him.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, send me a little pic. Send me a little picture later. I'd like to see him.
I'll send you many pictures.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, please exchange pics.
Yes, definitely. We'll do this after the stream. But no, hobbies. Actually, I used to, about 10 years ago, I used to play video games. I haven't really done that much recently. I've tried to get back into it recently. It just takes so much time, and I just don't have enough time to do that. So it's mostly just political stuff. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, but it's what I do. So thank you for the question, Ghost Ramen. Quindy, how are you, Quindy? Good to see you there, comrade. Quindy asks for the opinions on the Northern Independence Party in England. So we've answered this question already. Did you want to touch on it again, Josh? Did you want to summarize real quickly for our comrades here?
I would say just quickly go back to the start, but very quickly, it seems like it's mostly an online movement that isn't engaging in mutual aid action and benefiting northern communities on the ground, which we so desperately need. I wish it all the best. I do hope it does develop into that kind of party. Maybe because of COVID, it's been limited. But it does just seem like kind of offcuts from Corbyn, who would probably join Labour in a heartbeat if it turned back to the left again. We discussed briefly about the notion of the North as a nation, which came to the conclusion that it probably isn't by the definition of a nation laid out by Stalin. Although, of course, if they were to shift their position towards Yorkshire independence, then I'll be all for it.
Well, let's see how it goes. Maybe we'll be
the YRA.
Up the ra. Very good, thank you. Matthew Regan says at Paul Marin, quotation marks, Fidel Castro eats babies. Ivan Paul Marin.
Yes, he does, and he loves them as well.
Yeah, don't take that one out of context, please. Please don't clip that.
Clip.
Cancelled again. Here we go. Aaron says, Paul, would you consider Laos a socialist country? I'm not familiar enough with it, but it's rarely talked about when discussing Marxist countries in the world today. Sorry if it's been asked before. It's kind of in the same category as like countries like Vietnam, China, where there is kind of this nominally Marxist party in charge. But I would be of the personal opinion that there actually isn't any actually existing socialism at the moment, using the Marxist-Leninist Maoist definition of socialism. And if people are curious about what that definition of socialism is, I do have a video, What is Socialism, on this channel. It's only a 5 or 6 minute video. You can check that out, and that'll explain why I would come to the conclusion that there isn't actually any actually existing socialism. Josh might have a different perspective on it, more of an ML perspective. Josh, do you want to take that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get into a massive fucking heated argument or anything, but I mean,
I'm not going to challenge you.
No investigation, no right to speak. I suppose I don't know enough about Laos to make any massive informed decision on it. But in terms of what I can tell, it is aligned with, say, the likes of Vietnam, who are run by a communist party that is in favour of working class power. And therefore, although the road might be slower, it is on the road towards socialism. And I wish it absolutely all the best on that front. I'm looking forward to Vicky's video on it, because Vicky's came back to doing videos again. And it was Vicky that actually kind of inspired me to make a channel in the first place.
Oh, yeah?
She's been doing a series on how socialist countries work. So she's done the USSR, China, Cuba, and then she put out a poll the other day about which one she should do next. And I think the options were the DPRK, Laos, Vietnam, and the GDR. And obviously, well, she'll have to do a video on the GDR. I cover it, I think, quite well.
Step on the territory.
Yeah, don't come here, mate, because I'll build a wall around the GDR right now, and you're not stepping on it. It's my monopoly. No, so
look forward to seeing this drama playing out.
That's it. It's tea time. Another a call out stream is in order. No, I mean, obviously more content about the GDR is always welcome.
Mm.
It's good to get. She covers them quite well in depth and stuff, and in about 20 minutes or so. So, but yeah, I hope the option for Laos does get done, because again, I agree that not enough is out there about it at all, and the fact that I've barely ever come across it in terms of my own personal reading is not great, to say the least.
Yeah.
So more content about Laos would absolutely be welcomed, and I think there's an appetite for it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about it and learn more about it, because I'd absolutely fucking love to be proven wrong with any of this stuff. I'd love for someone to say, hey, you're actually wrong. They're committed to communism, they're doing this, they're doing that, the other, they're working towards the abolition of this and that and the other, and I would fucking love it. I'd love nothing more to have hope in these things again. So please, yes, I would love that. Oh, now here's a good question. Mick asks, Paul, could you explain the concept of democratic centralism? Now, this is a cool one. Josh, did you want to take this, or will I take this? I'm not sure how you wanted to do this. I don't mind.
Would you mind taking it, comrade? I need to get another drink, and I feel like I probably want to explain it as well, because I'm well known for breaking democratic centralism.
Yeah, I can certainly try. Let me just pull up. I actually had a little thing where I explained it.
I'll get a drink and I'll come back and do my drunken explanation of it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Let me just see if I can explain democratic centralism here. Okay, so democratic centralism is a process used in Marxist-Leninist and Marxist-Leninist Maoist organizations. It's this Leninist conception of the party, and how you have this idea of unity of thought. Diversity of thoughts and unity in action. Okay, so within the organization, you can say whatever you want. You can raise any criticisms you want. You're free from any repercussions for doing that. But once the organization has voted on a particular motion, even if you disagree with it, you're going to be expected to uphold that. Okay, so how this might play out is motions will be raised at party meetings. For example, we support X. We support this country. Let's say we support the USSR. Okay, let's just say that's motion for some reason. That motion will be raised at a party meeting. It'll then be freely debated by party members, and then it's going to be voted upon whether this is a good motion for everyone to support or not. That vote will be taken in private, and after the vote results are in, all party members will uphold the line and will work collectively to realise it. Now, if someone is unhappy with a certain policy, they can raise that question internally and work to change it from within rather than externally. And this is important, because organizations that don't abide by democratic centralism, maybe someone says, no, I don't like the USSR. They might say that publicly, and that might undermine what the organization, the party, is working towards, and what they've agreed upon collectively. So the important thing is that you have this unity in action, even if you have a diversity of thought within the organization. Presenting yourself to the world, you are united and unified, and you're acting together on the motions that have been agreed upon collectively and democratically. So there's these two aspects to democratic centralism. We might say there's a dialectical relationship between democracy and centralism. Okay, this is kind of an important thing. We need democracy at all times. There have been left comms who have been quite anti-democratic. For example, Bordiga would be quite an anti-democratic character. And then there's also the idea of centralism. We centralize everything. We put it into let's say for the central committee. We'll kind of enforce it, and we'll make that part of the policy, and make sure that everybody carries through on it. Now, there are extremes you can get to with either of these, with democracy or centralism. You can have, for example, ultra democracy, where people have to democratically decide what fucking toppings they're going to get on their pizza. Everything's held up to a vote. And it gets kind of ridiculous. It gets kind of chaotic, and you don't necessarily need that. But then there's also the more extreme aspect of it. If you get into what they might call ultra centralism, where there's basically no democracy, where it's just kind of an elitist ruling clique who are making the decisions for everyone. and it's pure centralization. There's no democracy, and this is a totally top-down kind of hierarchical structure where the people who are in the central committee are telling the rank and file what to do, what to say, what to think, and they have to do that. And there's no democratic process for that to be accountable to, you know. And actually, this is the pure centralism is seen in fascist organizations. Actually, if you look at Führerprinzip in the National Socialist Party, the what's it called, the National Socialists German
Nationale
Workers,
Sozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei.
the Nazi Party basically.
NSDAP, Nazi.
They had this thing, the NSDAP, yeah, they had this idea of Führerprinzip, and it was pure centralism. You know, whatever the fucking Führer says goes. You know, they were the ultimate hierarch, and it's all centralized to them. They can tell you what to do and what to think, and there's no democracy. It's anti-democratic, you know. And this is where you kind of get into this ropey territory where of like, you know, certain Marxist-Leninist organizations sliding into ultra-centralism, sliding into a totally top-down kind of approach. And this is where you kind of get the, you know, people accusing Marxist-Leninist organizations of being like red fascists and stuff like that, because there is an element of truth to that. When you're not carrying out the dialectical process between democracy and centralism, when you're falling into ultra centralism, then yes, it actually does resemble fascism very problematically. You know, this is why you always need to make sure that you're keeping it very well balanced between democracy and centralism, and not going too far off into the ultra democratic direction either. But anyway, that's the basic point. You basically you raise a motion at a party meeting, freely debate it, you vote upon it, and then you act together on that. You know, so there's diversity of thought and unity in action, and that's kind of what I can think about it right now. That's my explanation of it right now.
Yeah, it's
probably not a
very
great one, but it's
cheers.
off the cuff.
Just poured a new drink, so cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, you please add some of your thoughts to it as well, and maybe your experiences of being in the communist organization.
Halfway through it. Yeah, I caught about halfway through.
Mm.
What I'll just say is democratic centralism is the natural expression of working class action. You know, you see it in the strike committees way back from the 18th to the 19th centuries in terms of you're in your workplace, you vote, hands up to have a strike or not. You know, the majority decides, and then you stick with that. You know, you don't have half of the workplace going out on strike and the other half staying, you know, going back into the workplace as scabs.
Mm.
You know, that kind of thing. It's the natural continuation of natural working class politics applied to a communist organization. You know, so you all act together because the working class can't afford to divide itself. It has to act together as a united force in numbers, and that's where our strength is at the end of the day. So yeah, I think it's not just some kind of vague idea that was invented by theorists like say Lenin or the like of that. It's something that has been ingrained in the working class from absolute day one. We all recognise that. You know, if you're a scab, you get done in. You know, you get stones thrown, you get beaten up, and that kind of shit. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that if you have a dissenting opinion of the Communist Party, the same would happen to you. But you know what I mean? The principle applies of you debate, you have it out of each other. You know, you can fight in the debate and stuff like, you know, with words, of course. You can throw out your ideas there and try and get your argument across. But at the end of the day, if the people don't agree with you, and you suck it up and you agree with the people's line and you carry that one forward. You know, we can't. I mean, I think the ultimate example of where, you know, ultra democracy or the kind of lack of democratic centralism prevails is the Labour Party. You know, at the end of the day, in terms of there's so, you know, it's always been called the broad church. You know, because there's so many different ideas in the Labour Party that they can't get anything done. There's always wars within the party to undermine one faction of it to put forward another. So you see, you know, the left, obviously, I mean, they never did. The left was too kind. It didn't suppress the Blair right wing. When the right wing got in power, they're purging the left out of the party and the like of that. But they never acted united, you know. So in the 2017 election, Labour was 2,000 and some votes away from coming into government, which, although we have our problems with Labour, and obviously massively, it's a social democratic organisation. It's undeniable that the lives of working people under Corbyn would have been massively bettered. You know, the living standards would have gone massively up, and it would have helped the working class. And that's what I'm bothered about at the end of the day. You know, helping our class. So it's not the end goal, but it's a step. But then the you had the right wing of the party actively undermining it all. You know, they were fucking supporting Tories at one point to try and kick out Corbynites. So that shows the chaos that can happen within a party when there is no democratic centralism. There has to be that democratic process, emphasis on the democratic. The debate has to be equal and fair. Every elected member has to have their say in it. But once the fighting's done, once the debate is done and the vote is cast, you represent that united will of the working class and you carry forth those policies and fight together for it.
Yes.
Because we're not bourgeois for the day. We don't divide over little things. We have to unite for the common goal.
Yeah,
if you have a problem,
I agree.
In party circles, don't do it in public.
Yeah, I agree 95% of the time. Actually, one of the comrades in the chat has kind of problematized this particular question. They've asked a question that's obviously quite important when we consider democratic centralism and the limitations and the issues and the problems we might sort of be confronted with when it comes to it. And I think it is worth considering this question. I'm not sure whether this question is asked in good faith or in bad faith. But I'm going to assume good faith. I'm going to hope good faith that it was asked in, and we'll deal with it accordingly. You know, so this MD50s says, what would you do if the party decided? Just content warning, a little bit of transphobia here potentially. What would you do if the party decides that trans women are men? Then should you follow it? Just because you follow democratic centralism, what if they follow a problematic line? I would say if you're in a party that has decided that trans women are men, I would say you're in a grossly unscientific party. You're not in a Marxist party. You're not in a party that's actually following scientific socialism. You're in a party that you should leave. You should not be a part of this organization. And my personal opinion is, if I was in an organization that came to that conclusion, I would say that is a symptom of totally a faulty understanding of Marxism, and leave. I would just leave. I would not want to be a part of an organization that is coming to those conclusions. Like if someone said to you 2 + 2 is 5, you would say, no, that's wrong. I'm not going to go around.
He's right. No,
I'm not going to tell people.
Split from the party.
I would leave. I would just absolutely leave in that kind of situation. It's a totally anti-scientific and anti-Marxist position to come to, and you could not uphold something like that. Especially, it's not like 2 + 2 is 5, because saying 2 + 2 + 5 is kind of inconsequential in some ways. You know, obviously in some circumstances it might not be. But
members of our class.
Exactly, this is very harmful to our class, and just fuck that. Just fucking leave. Go off, form a new organization. There's plenty of other organizations that have better lines on this, and yeah, you shouldn't be part of an organization
that
kind of stuff.
Anyway, you know what I mean? There are certain communist organizations, communist in fucking quotation
marks, like big quotation marks there. Yeah.
This line. And at that point, leave.
Yeah.
Go. You have no business being in that party.
Totally.
They're likely also fucking faulty on other positions as well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know this certain organisation also engaged in a lot of hero worship. They engage with certain unsavory individuals on the likes of that. So yeah,
just the same organisation.
I know. Yeah, I know we joke and we say that Trot's like splitting all the time and shit.
Sometimes you gotta.
There is such a massive problem like that. You do have the right to split. You shouldn't be a part of that kind of organisation. It doesn't benefit our class. It just seeks to divide us. And if anything, that's a fucking undermining of democratic centralism in itself, you know, and unity in action anyway.
It's
in terms of dividing the
class
further and further, you know. Yeah, it's a mass betrayal of our class.
Yeah. I
mean, what the fuck do we gain by fucking talking about, you know, trans women and men and stuff? It's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to raise a glass here. I'm going to get the whole pub involved as well. I want everyone in the fucking pub raising the glass to this.
To a solid trans rights, absolutely. Yeah, okay. Thank you, comrade. I think it seems like you were engaging in good faith there. I can see some comments there. So that's good to hear. Thank you, comrade, for the question. Yeah, absolutely. I would say just leave. You don't want to be part of an organisation that is anti-Marxist and anti-scientific like that. The comrade also asked another question. What do you think about ML and MLMs having bad positions on the right to self-determination? especially to Indigenous and Inuit people in Canada and the USA. And I think the comrade might have mentioned like the Kurdish national liberation struggle as well.
It always comes up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one. I mean, if you're following the old Bolshevik line on national liberation, then you will support their national liberation all out.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Marxism-Leninism, Maoism, they don't give you the correct answers. They give you the tools to arrive. They give you sharper tools, better tools to arrive at the correct answers. It's not like every organization has the correct answers right then and there. I saw some people raising the point of like the RCP USA and stuff like that. The Bob Vakin, the cult and all sorts of stuff. People always like to talk about the
immortal fucking Bob Vakin photo, whatever it's called or something. I don't know.
Well, people love talking about that, and they also contrast that with some of the more reactionary ML organizations, and so they like to people like to talk, but actually, to my knowledge, the RCP USA, they're an organization of of extremes. Some moments which were terrible, some which were very progressive, very good. They had a hugely anti-LGBTQ plus line before. It seems they've updated that in the last decade or so, maybe. But yeah, with the tools of Marxism-Leninism, Maoism, you can come to the correct lines, but you need to keep working on them. And unfortunately, some people are stuck in the 1950s. They're still upholding the line of Stalin's USSR, which is ridiculous and reactionary, and we've moved beyond that. We need to move beyond it. So what do I think about these people having bad positions on the right to self-determination? I think that they're wrong, and that they need to update their analysis using the tools that we have. They need to support all nations' right to self-determination, especially the Indigenous people, the Inuit people in Canada, and so on and so forth. All of the Indigenous and colonized people in what's called America now, in Canada, and full support to their national liberation struggles. I think it's super cringe when they don't support this. It should be like one of the most basic things that any Marxist-Leninist or Marxist-Leninist Maoist should uphold and support.
Yeah, it's always like, in terms of Britain anyway, the national question is always seen as like some kind of a side topic that you can just kind of dip into if you really want to. It's not one of the core fundamentals of Marxism-Leninism, and I completely fucking reject that. Like, national liberation should be at the center of our ideology. And the fact that we don't really have much theory on it since Stalin, really, in terms of that the theory of what a nation is and the like of that. You have Connolly, you have Stalin, and then you have like a few people since then, but you don't really have any like massive groundbreaking theory since the 1950s, if you're being generous.
I do want to give a shout out. I do want to give a shout out to I can never pronounce the name, Ibrahim Kaipakaya, I think his name is. He has a great book on the national question. It's a foreign language press book that people can read for free. I'm going to put a little link to it. It's a little bit later. It's totally relevant now. It's one of the best books I've read recently on the national question. Put a little link to that in the chat there now. I'd recommend people just download the PDF for free, and if you can support foreign language press, it's only €6, $5 to pick up a copy of that, and they'll send it out to you. They're great people.
I myself am not a Maoist, but foreign language press are fucking amazing.
Oh, it's such a good book. It's got to
be said.
The thing is, like, there's some, like, when we're studying theory as Marxist-Leninists, the thing is that we're kind of studying stuff from like 100 years ago or 75 years ago. The stuff on foreign language press, it's recent, it's relevant, it's stuff that's going on in the world right now. It's people dealing with what the failings of the communist movement have been over the past 10 to 20 years, which is
answering the questions of our time. It's really fucking good. I mean, even if you disagree,
absolutely,
it's worth engaging with.
Definitely.
So I've got a few books. I've got Which East is Red as well, which I need to look at personally.
Now it's dark starting.
No, it's not happening. I can tell you now, it's not happening, mate. I fucking support the GDR to the day I die.
You say that now. You say that now.
No. It's not happening, mate. I know you're trying to tempt me with your fucking forbidden fruits.
I know what you've said to me in private.
Those conversations don't happen, comrade. But no, obviously, it's worth engaging with, and it's worth that principle of critical support to its full meaning. You support, but you're critical. You know, you bear in mind the shortcomings, and you use those shortcomings to further the lives of people in that country as well. You know, critical support isn't fucking supporting a sport team. There's a lot of fucking S's I'm saying here, SPs and that.
It's tricky to.
Critical support is fucking ruining my mouth. I can't say shit. So critical support is not like supporting a sport team where you support it unconditionally.
Mm.
You support them, yeah, in their endeavors, and you want them to survive. You don't want them to fucking fall to West and that. But you do recognize that there are shortcomings here. And by recognizing those shortcomings, you can aim to work on them and solve the contradictions that exist there.
Mm.
You know, and obviously, and then understanding the shortcomings makes you realize why socialism fell in the 1990s. So it's like, in terms of the GDR's case, it became anti-democratic in the late 70s to the early 80s, in terms of an ossified clique that ran the country and broke down the relationship between the party and the people, and that is why the country fell in 1990. But if you don't recognise that, and if you just kind of support it uncritically, then you're left with quite bad politics. You know, you know what I mean. You put the fault of these countries down to, I mean, Western agitation purely. I mean, obviously, Western agitation was a factor, but I mean, like, it's purely down to, like, you know, the people massively supported it, but then, like, why didn't the people rise up to defend it?
Mm.
Yeah, there were limited protests and the like of that. The GDR was dissolved by its own people, you know, and if you don't recognise the flaws of these countries, then you're doomed to repeat the same mistakes today.
Mm.
So although, yeah, I am explicitly a Marxist-Leninist and I do defend these countries, to support it like a sport team and not recognise failings is to not be a Marxist in a way.
Yeah.
You know, it's to not look at things dialectically. You can do both. You can support and be critical.
Mm.
It's not fucking mutually exclusive. I mean, so yeah, engage with Maoist writings, engage with them, you know, form your own opinion out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a reluctance. I think there's a reluctance for us to deal with the traumatic events that occurred within 20th century socialism. You know, we can't handle dealing with the reality of the horrors of the purges. You know, we can't deal with the Red Terror. We can't deal with the excesses. We can't deal, and Jesus fucking Christ, especially if you get into like Maoism and stuff like that, and you start looking at, you know, like what happened in Peru and all this kind of stuff. I mean, we just, in many cases, we want to just stick our fingers in our ears and just say that didn't happen, stick our heads in the sand. You know, we just want to pretend that these horrors didn't happen. When no, we actually need to confront these head on and to understand it. I think it's quite a naive position that a lot of us want to take when it comes to approaching socialism as being this pure thing that never did any wrong. You know, Stalin never did any wrong, Mao never did any wrong, never made a single error, and nobody died because of them. But that's just not true. You know, they're actually,
it's wrong.
It's
like,
wrong.
It flies in the face of actual history and stuff. Yeah. It's obviously like the big question I always get is, oh, what about the Stasi then?
Yeah.
In terms of the DDR and the like of that, and it's like, yeah, of course there were horrible crimes that were committed by the Stasi. Do I think that they were overplayed by the West? Absolutely, yeah. I do believe that they are overplayed to denounce the wider project of the GDR, and it's like that's something I'll say straight up. But were there instances where the Stasi went too far? Fucking 110%, yeah.
Yeah.
Going to defend every single action, and it's why I do need to make a video at some point talking about the Stasi, but I just don't feel ready to at this point because it's something that is so complex. You have to understand why the Stasi existed and why they had to do what they had to do at the end of the day, and then also how they went too far. You know, it's kind of hard to summarize into a 10-minute video. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously that's the goal of my thing. I don't want to fucking talk about for an hour or something. You know, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I did. Because no one would tune after that. No one will fucking bother listening to what I have to say.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, thank you very much. We are at 2 hours now. Maybe we'll take one or two more questions and then we'll wrap things up. We'll finish things off.
I could probably go until the latest, like 11.
Yeah, I could probably push on.
Probably.
Well, I'd need to run to the bathroom if we're going to extend this.
Oh, you broke the seal, haven't you?
Well, I want to break the seal, if that's okay with you. Can I give you a question
You
and
have
to
my
let
full permission.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah,
if I
go
have
for
your
it.
permission, then I'll go for it. And we'll keep it going a little bit longer. Okay.
Do have
Okay.
extra shakes on my behalf, though.
ZV says, Paul, how can communists? This is a good one for you. How can communists take advantage of the Labour Party's weakness during the coronavirus, as the Tories say, as we enter the quote recovery?
Yep.
So, do you wanna talk about the Labour Party's weaknesses and how communists
Absolutely,
can
yeah.
relate to
So I'll start off. Keith Starmer is a dick.
that?
Simple
Agreed.
as.
All right, back in a sec.
Simple as. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, he's got no fucking spine at the end of the day, and he has no will or desire to confront the Tories on any front. He's proven this since 2015. He would always abstain on key votes on policy, and it was Diane Abbott who actually said that it's all well and good abstaining, but what do you actually do by abstaining on these key votes? I mean, to abstain is to support it in a way because you're not offering any kind of opposition to a government motion. And yeah, you have the failings of parliamentary democracy there in terms of how the party with the more seats can just get through whatever they actually want to do, and the opposition have no real way of opposing it. But at least symbolically oppose it and stand up to the government. So Keith Starmer, I'm calling him Keith because he's a dick. So Keith Starmer, he's basically set the Labour Party's policy to basically like a critical support for the government during the pandemic, like a kind of government and national unity, like during a wartime or something, where you support everything the fucking government does. When really the government has cocked up in Britain from day one. They didn't shut the borders quick enough, and we have the highest death rate. We have the highest death number in Europe, if not the wider world as well. And in terms of death rate as well, our death rate is incredibly fucking high. And you compare that to similar circumstances like New Zealand, which is now free from COVID more or less. The government has cocked up from day one. I give the government credit on one thing: the vaccine rollout has been incredible in Britain. The vaccine rollout has been unparalleled. It's been amazing, and now I'll be able to get my vaccine soon, actually, which is quite nice. But everything else, the government has cocked up from day one, and
Scrack.
the Labour Party is to blame for that. Welcome back. I'm just chatting shit. So the
That's
Labour
what we love
Party
to
is
hear.
entirely complicit in the Tory cock-up of the corona crisis. So what can we do about that? Obviously, we highlight the fact that Starmer is fucking spineless to people who are suffering most from COVID, specifically BAME people, Black, Asian, minority, ethnic people in Britain who have had the highest death rate proportionally. Talk about that entirely, how Labour is complicit, but also in the wider working class communities as well, of how they had been put to the back of the queue in a way in terms of vaccine rollout and the like of that. And the most deaths have come from working class communities. So you highlight how the Labour Party is not taking a fucking firm stance on anything. They let the spy cops bill go through. They denounce Black Lives Matter. They fucking support the police violence that's been occurring in Britain recently, and until mass will turned against them, they actually supported. They were going to abstain on the police crime and protest bill, which would have made peaceful protest illegal in
Wow.
Britain if it was deemed too disruptive.
Jesus.
So, I mean, this is the fucking Labour Party, which last year was arguing for a solid social democracy at the very least. So, I think it's very easy to bring up Starmer's failings as a Labour Party leader to people. And again, related to local issues. So if you're talking to someone who's from the BAME community, you bring up the lack of support for BAME people, the fact that Starmer denounced Black Lives Matter and the like of that. If you're talking to, the wider working class as well, talk about how Starmer abstaining on key legislation has led to our communities facing the brunt of the coronavirus crisis. So I think it's very easy to grow off the back of the Labour Party's fucking failings nowadays. And you see that through the Northern Independence Party, which we've talked about 3 times now, has obviously gained a decent amount of support in comparison to the new party. But also in terms of the growth of the YCL, the Young Communist League, and the Communist Party of Britain, the membership is shot up by a decent percentage now. Actually, people are starting to turn towards communist ideas. I mean, in my place where I'm at in Yorkshire, when I first joined the YCL, we didn't even have a district branch set up. I was one of the first people to actually join it, and now we have a really vibrant district with branches set up in North, West, South, and East Yorkshire, which is a massive fucking achievement, I think, in the space of the last year or so. And it's people that are willing to fight for their communities, like working class people who are willing to support them every step of the way. So I think that the people who supported Corbyn are starting to recognise the failure of Labour as a party. There's more radical solutions rather than lying down and becoming passive once again, like happened back in the 80s or so. So I'm hopeful, personally. I'm very hopeful. Is it going to happen naturally? No. Us communists have to take a step into this and agitate. People don't naturally turn to communist ideas. We have to be there and, push forward our politics. But I think we have a solid groundwork now to do that. And we have a will to win at the end of the day. So fuck the Labour Party, break from the Labour Party. I mean, the fact that the Communist Party stand in elections as well is massive. We haven't stood in elections since 1986, I think, which gets our politics out at a wide level, which people wouldn't have engaged with before. So I think, you can denounce electoralism, but I think it is coming from that Leninist place as defined by Lenin in Left-Wing Communism and Infantile Disorder, in terms of using the parliamentary platform as one to get your politics out to the masses rather than one to implement change through parliament, if you know what I mean. And I think that that's what the CPB is doing quite well, and I think will yield good results personally. But that's my fucking rant there anyway. I've gone on for a while.
Well, here's hoping. It is a cool point. I mean, like that you said, like people aren't just going to magically, spontaneously arrive at communism. They're not going to arrive at Marxism-Leninism or Marxism-Leninism, Maoism. It's a Che Guevara quote: "The revolution is not an apple that falls when it's ripe. You have to make it fall."
Absolutely.
And, that comes to mind right now. I think we need to be pushing and agitating and educating and organizing and making this shit happen.
Hell yeah! Drink to that, comrade.
Absolutely, drink.
What are you on now anyway? What are you drinking now?
Well, I'm still on my Desperados. That's my go-to beer.
Desperados.
Yeah, tequila.
I haven't had Desperados since I was in France. Actually, it's
really
quite funny. That was 2 years ago now, I think.
Actually, do you remember I was talking about going to England or going to London, the British Museum? I always associate Desperados. I always think about that because that's one of the first place. That's the first place I tried Desperados. Actually, was in just some little.
Comrade, you need to get yourself over here to Yorkshire. You need to have yourself a bit of a Black Sheep ale, which is nice local brewery. I'll take you to a nice pub.
That sounds fun.
We'll have a good pint of Yorkshire beer, and you'll fucking love it. None of this Desperados shit,
I like Desperados. I don't know why everybody gives Desperados a hard time. It's good. It's high percentage. It's 5.9%. You need a good. It's class.
You need a good hearty Yorkshire beer. Is what you need, lad.
It's it's good stuff. 5.9% alcohol. It's
gets you fucked. That's a good point in it.
Gets you fucked up.
It tastes nice.
It tastes good. It tastes better than normal beer, in my humble opinion. And it's great. What can I say? It's really, really good. Oh, by the way, the Engels has said a couple times in the chat now. I'll just give a little shout out to it. Paul and Swann. Engels is cool, yeah. Did you see that video of me getting thrown by a cop? Lol, I put a video out on it. No, I haven't seen.
I did.
Did you see that? I didn't see that. That seems cool.
No, it's fucked. Yeah, I saw it. I've seen it all over Twitter and stuff. That was in.
That's on Twitter.
Yeah, obviously the police have been massively cracking down on protests recently, and it's also coming off the back as well of the Sarah Everard vigil, who was murdered by a police officer, right, in London, and there was a vigil in. This was just last month, I think. I think it was anyway. Yeah, so it's recent. Yeah, it's fucking recent. So there was a vigil held in Clapham Common, which is in London. I'm surprised I remember the name because fuck London. So yeah, peacefully they met up, and the police dispersed them and violently arrested people, beat them up, and the like of that. And they were peacefully. It wasn't a protest; it was a vigil to mourn the loss of her. And then the police who murdered this woman came up and started attacking women. You know what I mean?
Fucking hell.
And it's like, this is also in the wake of that police crime and courts bill as well. I just talked about in terms of making peaceful protest illegal. And that sparked a massive wave of protests across the country, being responded in a very similar manner as well, in terms of just beating the shit out of ordinary people who think that police brutality is bad, actually. And
Mm.
obviously the Tories doubling down and the like of that. And I'm glad to say that in the city that I'm in, there was a huge protest the other day, which was peaceful, because there were so many of us. And the police couldn't physically intervene, unless they wanted a proper fight, So
Mm.
thankfully, but other places have been so lucky. And Bristol has been a place that has been properly hit hard by the police brutality. The protesters there actually set fire to a police van. Well,
Wow.
yeah. So I mean, I don't like Bristol. I'm not lying to you. I think it's a shy city, you know. And I have problems with people that come up north from
Cruel.
Bristol. But fucking fair play to them, the ones that stay there and decide to engage in proper revolutionary action in terms of burning police vans and the like of that. People who live in Bristol, you're fine. Just don't fucking come up north, please, because the state of yous. I'm sorry.
Mm.
But that's my chauvinism coming through there.
Yorkshire chauvinism coming through right there. Well, actually, I'm not sure if you want to speak on the next question. I know we're sort of winding down, coming to the end of it now. We're kind of pushing on things, but there is a question Ella Tracy asked a little while ago. I'd like to hear your position on Scottish independence, if that's cool. Comrade, if you'd like to say no comment, that's fine. That's no problem.
No comment. That's okay.
No comment. Okay. Well, in my opinion, I absolutely support Scottish national independence. No doubt about it. 100% support for it. I mean, how could I uphold the Irish Republican struggle and not uphold Scottish independence? I 100% support the breaking up of the UK, and that is my position. So that's all I will say to it. As for, I think you can make an argument about like the national question, whether or not the Scottish people constitute a nation. Although sometimes that can be used quite cynically to deny the oppression and exploitation that some people have faced historically. Now there are different arguments to be made about Scotland's role and complicity in this or that, and that's fine. But as a baseline, I absolutely support the Scottish independence struggle, and yeah, 100%, 100% support.
I just quickly put across the policy of the CPB anyway. So basically, the Communist Party of Britain does argue for a socialist union of Britain based on federal lines. Absolutely respects the right of the Scottish people to national self-determination. But if there was a referendum, the CPB would argue to maintain the union, because we can work better together in terms of overthrowing the Westminster capitalist elite and the like of that. So that's the overall aim of the Communist Party of Britain and the YCL, a socialist union of Britain, which levels the playing field between the centralisation of power in Westminster and distributes it to the working class across the island of Great Britain. And that's the party line on that question there.
Okay, thank you for sharing the party position. I understand that it's important to put forward the party line. We talked about democratic and stuff like that, and yeah, it's the party line on it. So thank you for sharing that. One of the comments in the chat just asked a question about a different stream, Revolution International. Paul, I tried finding your stream with Mel, Milky Leninism, but I couldn't find it. Other streams are missing. Yeah, I basically, to clean up my channel, because there's a load of streams of us getting drunk and talking shit and having fun. I basically, if you click onto the channel and go down, you'll see like a few different categories. You'll see like educational live streams and then drunk talking live streams.
Right.
You'll find all of those streams there, and the drunk talking, shy talking, having fun live streams versus the education live streams, which were like the live streams where I had like JMP on, or people from like different organizations to talk with them and to talk about their struggles.
Myself.
Yeah, like yourself. Some of our conversations, some of them have just been rambling, shy talking streams.
A few of them maybe should be on the main channel,
private. No.
8 hours.
They're all still there. They're on the playlists. They're set to unlisted, and they'll show up on the playlists there. So if you go onto the channel, if you click on the main channel and you go into the playlist, the alcohol fused or drunken stream, I can actually I was gonna say I'd pull it up here in front of me now, but I know it's gonna autoplay some stuff and it's gonna play through the speakers, so I'm not gonna mess things up for you. But yeah, just go into the main channel there and you'll see it.
You can put a link, can't you?
Yeah. I'll see if I can pull up a link in the chat to
You can
that
share
particular
playlist,
stream.
can't
Yeah, I can link that particular stream in the chats.
you?
She's great. I adore Mel. I think Mel might have come under fire recently.
Recently, yeah.
I saw like one maybe she talked to Vosh or something like that, and there was like a whole big. Did you see that? Because I haven't really been on.
I didn't see the stream, but I did see some of the backlash and the videos that went up on Twitter and the like of that. Completely unjustified, and it just shows Vosh's chauvinism. But we don't talk about fucking
We don't talk
Vosh
about
on this
Vosh.
channel.
No.
We don't. No,
No Vosh, no
I
China.
brought the rules. I brought Democratic Centralist again.
Let me see. I think that was Revolution Nationale. That. Let me just tag her. Come right here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, Mel's great. Fuck people who are talking shit about Mel. Mel's an absolute badass. I adore her. She's great. Upholds Marxism, Leninism, Melism. Milk tea melism?
Melism. Yeah, that works.
Melism works. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, okay, cool. So let's take another couple questions. Let's see here. Okay, we talked about Scottish independence. Very good. You can talk a little bit about this because you talked a little bit about this earlier on the stream and how your upbringing kind of brought you to some maybe reactionary positions when you're growing up and how you changed them. Comrade Michael Parenti asks, Paul, how should we approach people who were right wing or reactionaries who realized they were wrong and later go on to be Marxists or communists? Should they be welcomed into the communist movement?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm biased here, but absolutely, yeah, they should be welcomed into the communist movement. I mean, if I was when I was starting to question my right-wing beliefs and I was met by a left that rejected me entirely, basically told me to fuck off because of what I used to believe in, then I might still be right-wing to this day, and I'll still be perpetuating hate in our society that is completely unneeded. And especially, I mean, maybe it's different when it comes from a more, like middle-class background, then maybe, fuck that. But like when it comes from a working class person, and when you understand why working class people hold these beliefs, it's completely counter to our cause, to our movement, and to the wider liberation of the working class to reject anybody who has held previously right-wing positions and is willing to address that and to learn and to grow and to start to fight for our class from a communist perspective. It's ridiculous, and I think it does just reek of liberalism when it comes down to people trying to cancel working class people who used to hold right-wing beliefs. I think it's fucking stupid. I won't lie to you. Maybe there is a question for some doubt. Say if they shifted from being a fucking Nazi to an ML overnight, then you could have questions to say, oh, maybe you're just in it for the aesthetics and the like of that. Absolutely, yeah, fuck that. There needs to be a few more conversations there. But when someone has actively engaged in self-criticism and has come to new conclusions, so if I can go on to my own personal political development for a little bit, obviously I grew up and I was very, again, right-wing. I was affiliated with the UKIP and like that until I was 16. And then I saw the politics of Corbyn, and I saw that those politics resonated with myself and my family, who had obviously faced eviction several times, actually, threatened with homelessness and oppressive landlords and unemployment and the state of the mental health care for working class people, especially in the north. And it was Corbyn's politics that first broke me out of that cycle, and then I started to engage with Corbynism and the Labour Party, and then I shifted over to Trotskyism, and as you do on our islands, you have that phase of anti-communist communism,
Yeah, that's right.
And then you start to see the light as well, and you see that you have to be pragmatic in your politics. You can't be dogmatic. You have to be willing to adapt, and you recognise that Marxist-Leninist states were capable of lifting the working class out of poverty and giving them democratic rights, and were capable of building socialism, and the like of that. You recognise that material conditions lead to policy, and that's why the USSR turned out the way it did, and the like of that. But again, if I was right at that stage of turning from UKIP towards the Labour Party and someone just shut me off and said, "Nah, fuck off, you're a racist," or something like that, and I wouldn't be where I am today.
Mm.
I wouldn't be a communist. I would probably still be a UKIPper. And I think that just willing to listen to someone's point of view and address their prejudices and shift them into a different direction is our role as communists, as working class communists. And I've got to fucking emphasize that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we recognize why our class believes what they do. The ruling ideas in society are the ideas of the ruling class, to quote Marx, I think. So recognize what people think about.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But actually, sometimes I see people going too far in the other direction with this, because I feel like
Right.
maybe around 2015, 2016, people were very, big on like the SJW thing. It was all like check your privilege. It was all fucking.
Well, that was a massive thing. Yeah, I mean, obviously, but back then, I mean, when that was coming out, I was massively against that. It's quite
It was very alienating. It was very alienating as like a working class person. It was very strange. Like all these kind of weirdo Americans telling us to check. It was very strange.
Oppression, and now I've got someone who's quite posh telling me to.
Yeah, clearly he's middle class Yanks, and it was quite a strange experience.
I recognise now. Yeah, I recognise now that obviously I do hold privilege as a white
person. And you recognise that they were pretty much correct, but at the same time, what I will say is that now I feel like we're going through a period of overcorrection where we're that might be one form of liberalism right there. And we've kind of, in some ways, we're kind of overcorrecting for that at the moment. We're at the other side of the pendulum swing now. It's swung back in the other direction.
Lenin, bend the stick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I do sort of feel like we've maybe we're not quite at the right place in the middle, where we're not falling into either of these liberalisms, the left or the right liberalism. As Mao would say, like we're not just avoiding confrontation for the sake of niceties and not alienating people or anything like that. So when someone says something that's like fucking really racist or something like that, like we are challenging that and we are pushing them to overcome that and to solve and resolve these contradictions, but without telling them to like check their privilege in this very kind of detached, abstract, weird way. Yeah, but at the same time, we do need to challenge these kinds of ideas as they arise, and guide people towards the correct position. So there's kind of it's this kind of dialectical kind of process, and there really isn't a one size fits all kind of approach to this. But unfortunately, I do see some people now at the stage where we've kind of swung back in the other direction, where they'll kind of just let it go when somebody says something that's really like racist or sexist or or ableist or something like that. Like they'll just kind of let it slide, like no big deal. We'll just gotta let it go because we're cool. We're just one of the lads. We're not gonna worry about it. It's not a big deal. When actually this is a form of liberalism right here. This is a form of liberalism. They're avoiding having the conflicts and explaining to someone that no, you shouldn't use the R word, or you shouldn't be using tactical N words or whatever. You shouldn't You shouldn't be fucking doing that. And we need to confront these people when they do those things. It may not be. It depends. Obviously, there are different situations, different circumstances within which you might confront these people, but you do need to confront these people and not let these things slide. Even if it's uncomfortable for us, it's easier for us to let these things slide. It's easy for us to just kind of say, it's not a big deal, forget about it. Even when someone has, done something that's really damaging to our class. It can be
uncomfortable to call someone up, but again, I think the way that you confront someone isn't by invalidating the oppression that they've faced. Saying that because you're white and you're privileged, you haven't faced oppression before. Recognize the hurt that people feel, but also say that you're perpetuating harmful ideas that don't benefit yourself and that don't benefit your class as well.
It destroys our class.
Yeah, it fucks up over our class. You're buying into fucking the London metropolitan academic elite's ideas of dividing the working class. You're doing their job for them. I mean, I think that that's the way that you can bring people over, rather than saying that you said something racist because you've never felt oppression before in your life.
Yeah.
Right. Ways you can swing that the other way around and say, yes, you're oppressed, and I recognize the hurt that you felt, but you're saying things that don't help our fight and they don't help our struggle. You're buying into harmful ideas that they want you to think as well.
Mm.
It makes anti-racism again rebellious. It makes it what it should be. It should be something that's revolutionary as well. And again, I can't stress this enough. You just have to be patient with people as well. I mean, you have to recognize if it's so deeply rooted into someone. Some people are beyond saving. It's got to be said. Some people, I know people that are beyond saving.
Oh, I hate that, but yeah, it's true. I hate to say it, but
you have to
there are
recognize,
some people.
you have to pick your battles at the end of the day. But most people aren't beyond saving. Most people you can't have a conversation with, and they'll recognize, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And then you can crack on. Yeah, pick your battles, and be patient. But if someone's set in their ways, yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. Actually, Union Jack the Ripper had a good comment on this. The Union Jack the Ripper says there's a comic, a comic where a worker is between a union worker and a Klansman, and it said, if you don't talk to him, someone else will. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
there's a Klansman there, there's a worker there, and there's a union worker. Like, so, are we going to let the Klansman talk to this person, or is it going to be us who steps in there? So, yeah.
And that's one of the weaknesses of the left as well, as it turns more online and more academic as well. The left is very academic nowadays. It's forgotten that community organised, and that's something that the right has realised.
Yeah, I've fallen into that trap as well.
All the fucking time. Yeah,
I'm actually quite prone. I'm very prone to that trap right now, actually, because I'm very fucking online just with COVID and all that, and being kind of immunocompromised. It's
happened to all of us. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Not out in the community nearly as much as I'd want to be, but
I'm just going to go for a last comment, if that's okay. I'm going to break the seal now, if you'll allow me.
Have fun. Enjoy. Give it a few extra shakes. Give it a
more. I'll have 6 just for you, comrade.
6 just for me. So 2 with the normal, and 2 for necessity, and 6 for me. That's nice. Don't think of me, though. No 6, because...
You should feel honoured. That's privilege right there.
All right, enjoy. Have fun. Go on. Thank you very much. All right, thank you, comrades. Yeah, they're really, really good points there, and really, really interesting conversation. Let me just see if there's any other questions here that I haven't really come to. Jess Daya asked a little while ago. I know growing class consciousness, creating and working in a vanguard party are important. How much emphasis would you put on sharpening skills like farming, self-defense, etc.? So much importance. All of the importance. We need to be building up our own dual power structures. We need to be building up our own communities, our own governance structures. If you look at the really progressive Maoist movements, like in the Philippines, stuff like that, they build up. What they do is they empower people to take control of their own lives. In every sense of the word. Obviously, I need to be kind of careful about what I say here to avoid, getting into any legal difficulties. But literally, they give the people the tools to be in control of their own lives. It's that old thing. Do you give the people to fish, or do you teach the people to fish? Teach people to fish, and they'll be able to look after themselves for their entire lives. And I would say absolutely teach the people to fish. So how much emphasis would you put on sharpening skills like farming, self-defense, etc.? I would say probably half our time should be focused on actually doing these things, allowing us to administer our own communities and to look after our own communities and to take care of our own communities. Absolutely, it's super, super important. So yeah, it needs to be key, and Black Panther Party would be a good example of organizations doing that kind of thing. Other questions? Have you heard of sacred? Here we go, mate. I was just gonna answer another question here on land back. Sacred. Actually, it's sacred chaotics X. Paul, have you heard of and have opinions on the land back movement here in the so-called United States? I've heard of it in kind of, I don't want to say memes, but basically just like hashtag land back, this kind of thing on Twitter and stuff like that. I've seen people talk about it.
Is it a movement? That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of a movement. Well, the thing is, I don't know. I mean, I've heard criticisms of what you might call like decolonization because of this shift from anti-colonialism to decolonization, this kind of strange shift, which is a little bit more nebulous and not quite as specific. I support anti-colonialism. I support the abolishing of all colonial structures. I support the colonized groups rising up. I support their national liberation in every way and to the fullest realization of that, up to and including their own nations to these people, like the full Monty, as they say, so I fully support that.
Hey, good film. Good film.
It's a lot of fun,
But proper Yorkshire film.
Proper Yorkshire film. But I would have questions about like decolonization and land back, and how that plays out and how that fits into it. It sometimes seems like it's more of a slogan than a strategy, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I
it's
would say.
very easy to put out slogans in it, but do you have
Is there
hard and fast policy ideas and like that? And is there a movement to back that?
Yeah, and if there is a movement back that, then brilliant. Absolutely support that. But
Incredible, yeah.
yeah, I
Focus
don't
on
know if
building
there's
that movement. Don't just think a hashtag is revolutionary
or a
actually
Twitter
on its
bio,
own.
yeah, or a Twitter bio or
Yeah,
something like that.
again, this is the key message. I've said it several times now. Mutual aid and engage in your communities
Mm,
all the time.
mm.
I mean, it's all well and good saying this shit online, but are you there speaking to people and bringing people over to your ideas? And can I just say
You
quickly,
know,
obviously now it is 10:30, so James Collins put out the call for final orders
yeah.
in the two.
You know what's kind of weird though. I've kind of realized something recently, which is a little bit strange, because there is an, like how we have like these kind of like anti-intellectual currents, we have these kind of anti-online currents, we have these pushing back
Mm,
against being terminally online and stuff like that. These kind of currents that
yeah,
arise. I've kind of realized recently, maybe for the wrong reasons, but I've and in shitty situations, I've actually realized the impact and effects that all this kind of discourse and dialogue that we engage in online can actually have in terms of real life organizing. Which has been a strange
yeah.
experience for me. Realizing like I'll say something online and then I'll have like comrades in my organization talking about that, and that sort of coming into the conversation when it comes to actual policy formation, and having the serious conversations, and that every organization will engage in. And it's a very strange
Mm.
experience. People joining organizations based on what people have said online, based on fucking tweets, based on fucking what people have said on Facebook, or what they've said on Reddit, or some shit that they've read online. Like, this is
Yeah, well, again, I said it before that I was swung towards the YCL after your stream with
with Dave.
what's his name? Radical Reflections, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Mental.
and obviously hearing that, and obviously seeing the things that will put out there as well. But on being online is a good tool,
Yeah,
especially during a pandemic as well. It can be
yeah,
your
that's
own
right.
presence as well.
Which actually,
And
which it
I
also
don't
makes me think
snub it.
we
I
need to
don't
be
think.
careful. It also makes me think that we need to
Mm,
be a lot more careful and intentional about what we say and how we use these tools, because they actually are having maybe a larger impact than we realize.
yeah. Mm,
You know, I
all as
certainly didn't
well.
realize that this is what I was getting into.
Again, self-crit moment. But
Oh yeah,
again, you hold your hands up completely. Yeah,
did
and
not realize that was going to be a thing, but
we should all respect that.
here we are.
Yeah, it does happen, doesn't it? So we just have to recognise that. Obviously, although we do denounce being purely online or like that, what you do say online does have real world effect.
Mm,
Um, and I just think that people need to remember that.
mm,
At the end of the day,
mm, mm. Yeah, absolutely.
especially during the pandemic, because we're
Yeah,
all stuck online now.
yeah. But I kind of I don't know if we're ever just gonna go back to normal, as they say. Like, I do feel like this pandemic has kind of changed politics. It just, the reality of the world. This pandemic has shaken it, has changed things
Well,
forever.
it's exposed the brutality to the capitalist system fucking bare, isn't it? I mean, you
Yeah.
look at the countries that have dealt best with the pandemic, or like nominally socialist countries like say Vietnam and Cuba and the like of that.
Did an amazing job. China did
Where
an amazing job as well.
yeah, China as well, like the ultra fucking capitalist ones, or America and Britain, I'm thinking of here,
Did terribly. Yeah.
have completely fucked it. Although, to be fair, I will give Britain a bit of credit here. Our vaccine rollout has been fucking amazing. I just said that earlier,
Yeah,
but
actually,
that's
the UK
that's
pulled it
ultra
together
fair.
quite recently, didn't they? They did a really terrible job at the start, but they got their shit together fairly well
Yeah, we
recently.
have the worst death rate. We had fucking there was a fucking situation rate where um kids, all the kids, every single child went back to school for one day, and then the day after, a national lockdown was declared. The fucking conservative government is flip flopped and U-turned all over the shop, and they reckon that one day at school led to 20,000 deaths.
Hmm.
20,000. And then they say that right back at the start, we're talking about, we're 4 weeks behind Italy and stuff. If we went in lockdown a week earlier, then our death rate would have been halved. And that just shows
Phew.
fucking the nature of capitalism so hard that we lost 50,000, mainly of the working class, because shops wanted to stay open for an extra week. It's fucked. And if anyone doesn't
I
radicalize
know.
out of this, then they're probably not going to fucking radicalize at the end of the day. Like,
That's true. Yeah.
like the system has been shown for what it is, and it's entirely there for the fucking profit of the few against the welfare of the many. And it's, I don't know. I mean, if this isn't the time to fucking agitate for a communist revolution with the wake of the pandemic and the fucking environment crisis as well, we've only got 9 years left, haven't we, or something like that. So we've got to pull our fucking socks up, like, and start agitating,
Yeah.
because we don't have the liberty of what they did back in the 1920s and stuff. We could wait a few extra years before we go for proper socialism and like that. We've got to fucking act now.
Yeah.
Before our planet goes to shit. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like I say, we had one success in Britain, that's the vaccine rollout. But the rest of it has been, the road to recovery has been paved in blood. And it's like, we're probably only doing well now because everyone who would have died is probably already dead.
Jesus fucking Christ. That's dark.
Back
have you been
to
vaccinated?
The care home with COVID. But I know people who have. My mum has. My grandparents have both got their double dose of vaccination now because they actually worked at the vaccine centre. So they've both got their double vaccines now. So I'm still waiting for mine. Ideally, I'd like to get my double vaccine before I go to Germany in September because Europe has fucked it. When it comes to vaccine, I won't get a vaccine in Berlin. Like, that's not happening.
Nor
so
ideally, Jesus Christ.
I heard that you only got like 2 fridges of vaccines or some shit like that.
If even.
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do for you, lads. There's a fucking case in Germany though. Did you hear? So, like the vaccine comes in little bottles, and there's supposed to be 5 doses in this bottle. So in Germany, what they're doing at the start is they were fucking injecting the whole bottle into somebody. It was fucking insane.
Fucking hell. Well, I hope
the
they're
whole
okay.
bottle of it.
Just like fucking
they were fine.
powering up.
I mean, I'm getting level 40 COVID immune at that point. But like, no, I don't think anyone had any there were no deaths from it, but I don't think people felt exactly very well after having that.
Well, I can't imagine they would. 5 times a dose. Not great. Maybe it is great. Who knows?
Maybe it is. Maybe they're like fucking hoax now or something when it comes to vaccines. COVID comes anywhere near them and it just fucking slaps them off like that.
Oh, geez. Yeah, Johnny B says then you have America with 500,000 dead. 500,000 dead.
Yeah. Fucking, I see stories from America all the time. Like, they're basically like normal, aren't they? You can still go to a pub. Sorry, bar pubs in America. They're not fucking civilized like us.
Bars.
Bars.
Let's go to the bar.
Cocktail. The bar. No, pub.
Let's use our credit cards.
God. Sorry, anti-America gang here. Never want to visit that country in my life, ever. Sorry, I don't get the hype.
Apologies to our comrades across the waters.
I love some American people, but mostly is. Sorry.
I don't know. I think the American working class is pretty good. Actually, I'm gonna stand up here and say that I think that there's a lot of very anti-US working class sentiment. I think we need to be better internationalists when it comes to the working class.
I'm only joking, by the way, Comics.
I know you're joking. I know you are joking, but there is.
He's serious. There's a lot of anti-Americanism that he's.
Well, the thing is, we're absolutely against America. We're absolutely against America and everything that America and the bourgeois American state stands for. But the proletariat that live in America, no, they're our comrades. No doubt about it.
Well, yeah,
they're
exactly.
part of the international
America has a very strong social tradition. Eugene Debs, James Connolly went over there and started unions. The IWW, Jim Larkin went over as well. Very strong working class tradition of America that should be built upon.
Yeah,
and absolutely. If you get into the concept of socialist patriotism and the like of that kind of history you can carry forward, and say, yeah, we as the American.
I get a bit weird with that. I go back to Stalin. Well, when people start talking about socialist patriotism in the US, because there's that Stalin quote where Stalin says like the proletariat can never rally under the banner of the bourgeoisie. So America
I don't mean it like that
banner,
in terms like America is a proper country, is a nation. It's not a nation, but I mean it turns out that progressive working class history. So saying like the example of I talked about in my video about the GDR about it in terms of obviously Germany coming from a fucking horrible place, but then building that progressive history to build a new nation. if you know what I mean. A similar process could occur in Britain and America as well, built on recognizing the rights of minorities to national self-determination and building a new nation built on working class consensus.
But then it's not a nation.
So you had
then.
in, you know,
That's a class. It's not a nation then.
yeah, but I'll see like building like a socialist country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or am I just chatting shy? But like,
Well, it's a conflation of country and nation, I think, which I think is a problem that we have. You know, like because in the popular consciousness, when we talk about nation, that could mean
so
country or a
unity
group of
class,
people.
class collaboration. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily refer to a group of people, you know. But like when we're talking about like as Marxist-Leninists and Maoists, like we have a very concrete understanding of what nation is, you know, based on the criteria set out by Stalin, the 4 or 5 criteria that's given in the national question, Marxism, the national question. So yeah, I always have to push back on this a little bit whenever this question comes up because there is a lot of conflation here, and I think we need to be a little bit more precise in what we mean when we talk about nation.
Yeah, no, apologies if I misspoke in that sense anyway. But
No, that's okay.
I hope the basic idea of what I was saying is that, I mean, what I was referring to in terms of the Germans in the GDR reconciling and giving national rights to, say, the Sorbian people in GDR, and building a new country, socialist country, built on that relationship as you know, a class relationship between the both. You know, sharing that working class heritage and giving the minorities equal rights.
Yeah,
and that's what I believe should be applied to the British and the American circumstances. Obviously, grant the right of national self-determination to the minorities in America. So if, you know, they vote to leave and form their own nation, fair enough, brilliant. If they vote to stay, then that kind of models what the GDR did, and obviously what the USSR did as well. The bigger example, you know, in terms of the Union republics, and like the much better example. I don't know why I'm talking about the GDR here, but I mean, like, if obviously they vote to stay, then that's the kind of model that we can build off, and building a new country on that basis, rather than maintaining the old American system of suppression of these minorities. I hope that came across. Obviously, I've had a few pints in me, so I don't know if my explaining is that good now. But you know,
no, you're good. I just have very I'm very cautious and careful with the questions of nationalism and patriotism these days because I was a little bit more.
I am also explaining at this point.
Yeah, no, I'm always just very, very careful about how we talk about nationalism and patriotism and what those kind of terms entail these days because unfortunately
again this conversation could be benefited by placing
it's just I've seen people take this
by placing the national question at the center of our ideology rather than the periphery, you know?
No, I would agree with that, and having a really concrete and thorough and well thought out understanding of what the national question means, what it entails, and what the implications of that are. Because, you know, I didn't even realize, but there were like a bunch of people who considered themselves to be fucking quote national communists, not national socialists, but national communists. Basically, some fucking Nazbol kind of types who got into my videos and onto my channel after seeing the video that I put out on nationalism and, you know, progressive nationalism, the nationalism of the oppressed. And I don't think I made it clear enough that you know, not any nation should be employing nationalism. You know, there are oppressor nations which should very much not be using that. You know, the devil is in the dose, as I always say when it comes to nationalism and patriotism. A tiny little bit of it to.
I think it comes to the context of saying, like,
if it's an oppressed
use that
nation,
progressive patriotism in Britain during capitalist stage. Chauvinistic to do that, but saying a socialist stage and to build on that progressive British tradition, and say the Chartists and the miners' strike, building that progressive working class history to define a new British identity.
But the thing is, you know, these are really progressive and we need to uphold them. But when we talk about like the miners' strike and we talk about all this sort of stuff, we're not talking about the nation. We're talking about the class. We're talking about things. We're proud of our class for doing that. We're not proud of our nation. Because our nation didn't do that. Your nation includes the bourgeoisie, and including the imperialists and the colonizer bourgeoisie. So, like, when you uphold the nationalism, you need to be careful. Like, what is included within the nation that you're a part of? You know, and if the nation that you're a part of includes imperialists, then that's an issue, and colonizers, then that's an issue. Maybe you shouldn't be blurring those class lines. You know, if you're part of an oppressed nation. if you're part of an oppressed nation where like the top strata, the top class strata is like the national bourgeoisie, then it's a different ball game. You know, you can sort of talk about like China using their national bourgeoisie, like in sort of the NEP period, 1949 to 1956. You can kind of talk about that. You can kind of talk about supporting Palestinian national liberation, Palestinian nationalism, and so on and so forth. You can talk. You can have those kinds of questions. It's a little bit different when your nation includes monarchs, you know, when it includes the royal family, or when it includes when your nation includes Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. You need to step away from that and say, wait a minute, is it worth is it worth upholding a full nation? You know, maybe we should be focusing more on the class at this point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. In terms of like redefining that identity towards a more class-based one, you know, is saying that the national identity is built on the back of the working class achievements and completely fucking denying the role, you know, saying that, you know, the imperialist bourgeoisie and the like of that, fuck that, we completely neglect that from our new national character, if you know what I mean? Build a new national character based on the back of the working class achievements and emphasize that as working class achievements. You know, saying that democracy was won by the working class through the Chartists. It was won through the Reform Act of 1868. It was won through the trade union movement as well, through the late 1900s to the early 20th century, the fucking hands-off Russia movement, all that, and the miners' strike and the likes of this.
But you know, it's a tricky one though, because
it's on the back of the working class.
You know, it's a tricky one because, like, when we look at the Bolshevik conception of what a nation is, does this include the people that we don't want to be a part of that nation? You know, and that's the issue. Does this include, you know, the royal family? And unfortunately, no. Yes, it does at the moment. You know, and so what do? Do you just kind of deny it? When it comes to the royal family, do we just say, okay, well, we're not going to apply the national question to the royal family, even though they actually are included within the nation of this group? You know, so what do we do then? Do we just kind of, I don't know, eclectically discard the national question and our understanding of nation in favor of some sort of, I don't know, sort of Frankenstein pseudo-progressive patriotism and nationalism that we're trying to repurpose for socialism? Or do we just kind of say, well, actually, maybe our division is better. Maybe we're better off focusing on our class and the international proletariat rather than on the nation in this kind of context. You know, so those are the kinds of questions that I'm having. It's actually, you know, it's another question. It's a question that I think needs to be had. It's a conversation that needs to be had in Ireland as well. Because especially like nowadays in Ireland, especially when it comes to like the bourgeoisie in Ireland, like, do we really want to be aligning ourselves like with the comprador bourgeoisie, with wealthy capitalists who have bought mines, that have literally bought mines in Africa and are extracting resources, engaging in imperialist activities? Do we want to? You know, there was a time in history when that wasn't happening. You know, there was a time when that wasn't necessarily happening, and there was more of a kind of what you might call like a quote national purity, if you want to get into that kind of shit. You know, where there really wasn't this kind of imperializing bourgeoisie as part of our nation, but now there is, and that kind of complicates the issue a little bit more. Of course, we need national self-determination and national liberation and so on and so forth, but it definitely complicates the question a little bit more, especially in this age of imperialism. The national question has become a lot more complicated than I think a lot of us want to accept, you know, because the thing is, like,
again, that's why it should be placed front and center of our ideology as well. It should be much more reading and much more theory.
Well, yeah,
written about it.
Well, unfortunately, what the thing is happens is, you know, like I mentioned earlier on about the pendulum swinging the opposite way. A lot of us when we start getting into like communism and socialism, or maybe you go through like a period of being like an anarchist or a social democrat or democratic socialist or whatever it might be, and a trot, whatever it might be. Yeah, we have a period where we're super anti-nationalism. In many cases, we're very anti. We're very much against that. You know, we're like, no, we're internationalists. We're not nationalists. And then we move into Marxism-Leninism and Marxism-Leninism-Maoism, and we realize this emphasis is placed on the national question, and the pendulum swings to the opposite direction. And so we can often find ourselves falling into traps of just supporting, in some cases, actually supporting bourgeois nationalism when we shouldn't be. You know, but we're literally obscuring class divisions and literally siding with imperialist bourgeoisie figures.
I do hope I haven't come across as that, by the way. Like,
Oh,
I
I don't
don't
think
mean
you
to,
do. I
you know,
have seen
like,
people. I've seen people in the US fall for the strap as well. You know, I have seen people in the US. You know, trying to repurpose like the US flag, stars and stripes,
yeah,
socialists.
yeah.
You
I'm
know,
sorry. Fuck our butcher's apron. Simple
absolutely.
as.
Fuck that. You
Okay.
know, I think that is a very, very extreme manifestation of it, and I don't think that the proletariat can ever rally behind a bourgeois banner in that kind of
Yeah, what I mean is
manner, as
obviously
Stalin says.
reusing that working class history to redefine a country, but also that's not the only element of it. We've also got to emphasize first and foremost the proletarian internationalism
Well, that's
of,
that's what you said in your video,
especially
which is
in
great.
yeah,
In
that is
the
the
on the
main
GDR.
purpose. Yeah, you can use the the history of the working class in your country, but the international comes first. And that, again, I said in the video, symbolically, the international socialist community always came before the socialist
I
fatherland
love
in the
that. Yeah,
GDR.
I love that.
And that has got to be front and center. They recognize that. And they said, yeah, we come from a horrible fucking imperialist the worst imperialist background in terms
Mm.
of the Nazis.
Oh my god.
And they said, yeah, but the international community comes first. And that's why we'll send our highly fucking trained professional army into Africa to aid the national liberation struggles alongside Cuba. And, I think aside from the USSR, just because the fucking USSR was so massive,
Mm.
the GDR sent the most aid and, monetary aid and military aid to the global South. And it was mainly, if there was a national liberation struggle, it was Cubans and East Germans who were backing it and fighting that struggle as well.
Yeah.
And that's the other part of the conversation. Yeah, we can have a socialist patriotism, but the proletarian internationalism comes first and
Yeah.
foremost.
I
And
think
on that
that's really
note,
important. Yeah.
I'm gonna get a final drink if that's okay.
Yeah, it's great. We'll wind this down. We'll wind this
It's
down pretty
final
quickly.
orders now. That's it.
Last
Connolly
orders.
said he's rung the bell. Ding, 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 ding. Get your DOS orders in, lads. Get your
Big
final
Connolly.
pints in.
Last
Because you're
week.
getting kicked out soon, lads. The guard are coming in, the West Yorkshire Police. They're all coming over as well.
3 more minutes and that's it.
Neck 'em. Right, I'm going to get this final pint, mate.
Go on, get it into you. Go on, come on. Yeah, sounds. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I do. I'm quite cautious on this question, on the national question these days, as a result of the backlash that I had, seeing some unsavory types kind of filtering in, and also some genuinely just like misguided people kind of coming in here. And I think it's important that we are clear that we shouldn't necessarily be obscuring the class divisions between the proletariat and especially like the imperialist and comprador bourgeoisie. There's one thing to be said for the petty bourgeoisie, for allying with like the petty bourgeoisie and understanding the potential progressive role of the national bourgeoisie. Although, in this day and age, in the era of imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, there's even an argument to be made that the national bourgeoisie doesn't even necessarily exist to the level that it would have, 100 years ago or even 75 years ago. So there's actually important. We need to figure that out. We need to figure out, like, are we living in a place where the national bourgeoisie can play any kind of progressive role, in terms of like a new democratic period or something like that, and new democracy, or have we pretty much transcended that with international capitalist imperialism? I think.
Yeah, I suppose the role of the movements against the empires and all like that, in terms of the revolutions and the movements against kicking out the imperialist empires. Obviously, the national bourgeoisie played a progressive role in that sense, but now we have new nations that are built on class collaboration. And of course, we have the role of neo-colonialism and imperialism in terms of owning infrastructure and the like of that. But who's politically running the country? It's not. It's the national bourgeoisie who are politically running the country, and therefore the new struggle has to be overthrowing that national bourgeoisie, and to overthrow both that bourgeoisie, but also the imperialists as well, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm pissed now, but it's like this is the thing. It's like we've had the first stage. And that's been successful more or less across the entire globe, except for like Gibraltar or like the French islands or some shit. You know what I mean?
Go on.
Now we've gone to the second stage of
Socialist revolution, yeah.
the working class over free of the socialist revolution now,
Mm,
overthrowing the national bourgeoisie to create a socialist republic.
mm, mm.
And that's the stage we have to fight for now. So I think that the question of class collaboration between the national bourgeoisie and the proletariat is less relevant nowadays than it was, say, 50 years ago.
Yeah, I
In
agree.
fact, if it is relevant at all, you know.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think that probably, well, I can't speak to every situation, every circumstance. Maybe it's different in different contexts. Obviously, you need to do a concrete analysis of a concrete situation. But I would say that generally, like in Pierre's course, I would say that probably the petty bourgeoisie is probably the highest among the social strata that you could engage in any kind of collaborationism with, and that's important because like, the petty bourgeoisie are, of course, in many cases they don't make the majority of their income from the exploitation of labor. It's mostly from like their own labor, like they are still working and stuff like that. So
I don't know though. I mean, when I was working in a cafe, right, here's a fucking fun story.
oh,
Right?
some of them are
It's a bit of a
fuckers.
sidetrack. Yeah, so I was working in this cafe, right, and this fucking the guy who owned the place. So I was getting paid. I think I was 15 or 16 at the time,
Hmm.
and I was getting paid £4.20 an hour, which is fucking disgusting, right?
420.
Because I
Blaze
was
it.
doing 8 hours. I was doing 8. For weed, comrade, fucking weed. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite as fun as getting high. So I was getting paid £4.20 an hour, and I was doing more work than anyone else in the place. I was doing 8 hours a day
That's a lot of
and all
shit.
this kind of thing. And the guy, he fucking came in like once a week on a Saturday to train someone to do like baristering, like making the coffees and shit. But
That
like
doesn't
he
sound
lived
like
in a
petty
massive
bourgeoisie.
country house.
That sounds like hot bourgeoisie or middle bourgeoisie to me. That sounds
Well,
like
no, because
some.
he would come in. He would come in every now and then to like do work and stuff. You know, he would run the coffee machine for the day, and then he would go back. But obviously, he was still extracting the vast amount of profit from the place.
Mm,
It's like he never worked. It wasn't like the case where he never worked a day in his life. Like he would
mm.
work like a
But it sounds to me
decent
like
day once a week or so. If you know what I mean?
yeah, but it sounds to me like the majority of his income was generated through the labor of others rather than through his own labor. It's not like, for example, like when you have like a handicraftsman or like an artisan or something like that who spends all their
Like a plumber
time,
or something like that.
yeah, a plumber or like let's say a small business owner like with a shop, and they are the only person who works in the shop. Maybe they have someone to come in the weekends or something like that. But the
Okay,
majority,
fair enough.
the majority of their income comes from their own labor, as opposed to the labor of others, the exploited labor of others. And that's kind of the distinction I would make, like when it comes to petty bourgeoisie versus like middle bourgeoisie or
Yeah,
higher
it's just a
bourgeoisie.
thing where you can draw a line though, because obviously he was quite important in doing the training for people that would come to do the coffee making and
Mm,
stuff like that. Like, he was the only person that did that
mm,
in terms of training new people. So he put labour in that sense. But
mm.
obviously he also was absent most of the time. So do you have like an upper and a lower petty bourgeoisie as well
Oh yeah,
in that
yeah,
sense?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, a fun kind of thought experiment to kind of think through is like, what if you have a member of the petty bourgeoisie who's, and I suppose this is kind of like the question like the qualitative and the quantitative and quantitative differences
Yeah.
versus qualitative differences and so on and so forth. But imagine you have someone like who is through their own labor. Let's say they're like a software engineer. Software developers, software engineers, they make like 100 grand a year or
We
something like
don't
that.
talk about computers on this end, mate. I've had bad
42.
experiences.
42. No, but
42.
imagine you have someone like a small business owner doing something like that, some kind of software company. Then they're putting Trojan horses on people's computers because they've got this new software, antivirus software. But they have someone
Critical
working for them.
support for the struggle against the privileged first worlders stealing their bank information.
But imagine they have someone who they do their own labor. They create their own software and they're generating like 100 grand a year. And they hire someone who's also making a further 100 grand a year for the project. That's an awkward one because like, are they petty bourgeois? Are they bourgeois? Like what? Because they're engaged in the exploitation of labor, and they're engaged in self exploitation, if you can call it that. Through their own labor, but they're also exploiting others. They're also purchasing wage labor. They're engaged in the purchasing of wage labor. They're purchasing the labor power of others, and it's at like an equal level. So like, where do we put them on the line? Are they like middle bourgeoisie? Are they petty bourgeoisie? Like where do they
Is
fit
that the
into this
kind of
scenario?
line in it where it's like, could you reasonably proletarianize this person, or are they going to defend their class interests as a business owner. So it's like when I guess in
Well,
case of the cafe that I was working at, that person would not have been proletarianized. They would have
yeah,
fought outside of reaction.
yeah,
Whereas if
yeah.
it's like someone who's running like a kind of like small family-owned business,
Mm,
then maybe that's different.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's important that we separate between proletarian consciousness and proletarian ideology and like what they'll fight for and what they believe in versus what are their
Mm.
actual material objective relations to the means of production.
Yeah.
Because this is a confusion that we have. Like we for example, we think of like that software developer, even if they work for Google or something like that. Like we all know these dickheads with like high paying jobs, the labor aristocracy, and they don't align with the working class. They've no interest in supporting the working class. They see themselves as part of the bourgeoisie. Maybe they own a bunch of stocks in a company, so there's like a small amount of, they're not like a pure proletarian, like they actually have some ownership of the means of production, although it's not the majority of how they make their income. The majority of the income that they make is true exploited labor, true wage labor. And you know, there's still the aspect, the objective material aspect of, yes, they are proletarian, they're part of the proletariat, they meet like Engels' definition of the proletariat, but at the same time, their consciousness is very much a bourgeois consciousness, not even necessarily petty bourgeois consciousness, but an actual bourgeois consciousness. And so this causes a lot of problems
Aspiring
for
to
us.
be more.
Yeah, and this causes a lot of problems for us. How do we conceive of these things? For example, we can also think of other examples. We can go the other direction. Like we often think of like a highly paid proletarian, but what about a lowly paid bourgeois or a member of the bourgeoisie who makes all of their money from the exploitation of wage labor of others, but they just don't make very much money? For example, a landlord, for example, like a modern landlord. I'm not obviously not talking about like a feudal landlord.
Bastard.
But imagine, fuckers, always fuckers. But imagine a landlord right now who has like one house or one apartment that they rent out, and every year they're getting like 15 to 20 grand per year from that house or apartment. They're still technically bourgeois as a result of how they relate to production, okay? How they relate to the extraction of surplus value through the rent extracted.
That's what it is. It's not even bourgeois, is it? It's
Well,
like go back to feudal relations in a way.
Well, actually, Marx has a thing.
you know.
Marx wrote a little bit about that, about how modern landlords have become very, very different from feudal landlords. I mean, there is kind of this idea that like the modern landlords we have now are just kind of the hangover from feudalism, and that is true. But the land that they have,
In the case of Ireland back in the 19th century, certainly so.
definitely, yes. Yeah, but like we also have like big problems with landlords right now. But like the important thing is that actually the land and the property that they own, the private property that they own right now, has become capital nowadays. Under capitalism,
Right.
property has become capital in a way that it wasn't under feudalism.
I need to read fucking Capital. I won't lie. Like,
It complicates. I'm not sure. I think it's Capital volume. I think it's actually volume 3 of Capital where he gets into this in a lot more detail.
shit, that's like 2,000 pages to read.
Well, I've kind of I've gotten through it, but like I haven't understood. Capital is something that every time you read it, you realize how little
I'm scared to come because I won't fucking get it.
Oh, that's great. It's just you won't understand it the first time you read it at all, and every time I go back to it, I just don't get it at all. I'm like, oh shit, how did I miss so much? But this is the thing. Like,
I was reading Problems of Socialism in the Economic Problems of Socialism in the USSR by Stalin. He was obviously talking about stuff, and it's like you're just going fucking whoosh over my head and that. It's like I definitely need to like learn more about Marxist economics.
Yes, actually,
Do I need to be? Do I also need? I want to learn more to understand more, but also do I need to be 100% in every single area? You know what I mean? It's like obviously
you definitely need to. The first
I do
couple,
at the end of the day, at some point, yeah.
You do definitely need to get engaged with capital at some point, because unfortunately, like a lot of the misconceptions about socialism and communism come from a lack of understanding of what capitalism is. For example, not to get too fucking ultra. I'm sorry. I try. I've really tried not to. I've really tried not to get ultra in the stream, but Marx is pretty clear about what capital is. Marx is pretty clear about what capitalism is in the first in the first volume of Capital. Marx is pretty clear on what capitalism is, and you once you understand what capitalism is, and you sort of look at all these countries that exist nowadays, and you see it ticking all of those boxes, you know, you're going to probably look at those countries a little bit differently afterwards. So I will say it is important that we do read this. I don't subscribe to this kind of anti-intellectualist kind of position where they say you don't need to read theory, you don't need to worry about that, you can just watch a few videos and have a few conversations and get out and do some practice, and that's going to be fine. No, you do need to engage with this stuff. It's really important, because there's a lot of confusion and misinformation out there, and once you read these things you'll realize that, oh shit, what I thought to be true was not necessarily true. And once you understand what capitalism is, you'll understand what socialism is and communism is a lot better. And I would also say, and to get very fucking ultra and left commie as well, you were talking about like the conversation with Stalin, and that you should actually read Bordiga's response to all of that as well. I think Bordiga's response adds a lot of clarity to the situation. It's also really fucking funny. It's a really fucking he'll be like, Bordiga, the way Bordiga writes, he's like the arch left com, by the way. I don't agree. Actually, I think Bordiga has like some crazy fucking he's like super anti-democratic.
Abolish the value form immediately, comrades.
He's like a proper like lunatic in a lot of ways, but he's also fun to read. He's really fun to read. He's like when I read like Hoja, I'm like, this guy's a lunatic, but he's hilarious to read. I fucking love it. He's really funny. Like, no, you're reading Bordiga, and he's like, by the beard of Zeus, are you misquoting Engels? He says this kind of shit, and it's so funny. Like, because you're dealing with like really like dry text, and he'll just say this like wacky shit in the middle of it, and it's so funny. No. It's like it's sarcastic. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's very like ironic and very silly and stuff like that. So it's pretty. Are we seeing
a Paul Maurin left com arc?
Definitely not leftcom. Yes, very much Maoist arc, but definitely not a leftcom arc. I think that's a cul-de-sac. I don't think that'll
we'll
be
check it. We'll check in 6 months' time.
No.
I have suspicions now.
I honestly think
so that one day you'll be zooming that motorway on an armchair.
Vroom vroom.
Boom! Abolish the value form right now.
Look, all I'm saying is read what Stalin was responding to, and it's kind of, in some ways it's kind of disappointing.
I know that Mao wrote a response. I've got that on my bookshelf, so I'm right now.
Read the responses.
I read the book about the wolf tones.
No, do read this. Read the responses, because unfortunately Stalin doesn't always come across as well as you might think at first. You read his responses, and you're just like, that's a Chad response, and then you realize the other perspectives, and you're like, oh, okay, actually, Stalin.
Oh fuck, Chad's wrong. Chad's wrong.
Yeah, Stalin probably needs to be a little bit more precise about what he means here, and it's just like Stalin kind of like he takes.
On me reading recently, I've gone much more chill, because obviously I'm doing a lot of work with dissertation and stuff, and that's fucking hard reading. So I read a book about the wolf tones, like by Brian Warfield, and now I'm reading a book about football and the GDR, which is quite nice.
That's nice. You don't need to worry about too much about that.
And he's really nice. Like the politics that go around it and stuff. It's like this guy's like kind of like travel log of walking around the modern East today and how fucked it is all now. But yeah, and then I will get to the Mao eventually one day, but I need to do my fucking dissertation first.
Yeah, enjoy it while you're not here. It does in many ways. It kind of ruins a lot. So be careful.
I don't want my worldview shattering. Oh no, what am I gonna do?
Oh, that's crap when it happens. Yeah. But look, we care about truth. That's what we do as scientific socialists.
Exactly. We're Marxists at the end of the day. We've got to take that Marxist analysis.
Yeah.
So
Papi Chulo's telling me to embrace the armchair.
The truth hurts, doesn't it? And I know one day you are going to be Vrooman.
I'm going to be a proper armchair. It's only a matter of time. No,
actually, take it snug with you. You'll be driving around in it.
You know why I'm not? You know why I can't? I will never ever be a proper armchair is because the armchairs, left comms, they totally reject the national question. And I can never reject the national question due to my own upbringing, just due to being a Republican.
Again, it's central. It should be central to all of our ideologies.
Yeah.
It's a criminal reason.
I agree. And that's why I could never, ever take that leftcom kind of position. I absolutely support and uphold the national question. I don't think that nations are just like inconsequential things, or that they don't exist, or that they're idealists or some shit. I do understand national oppression. everybody in Ireland fucking does, you know. So I'm
Yeah.
never going to take that kind of position. But at the same time, you should definitely read the responses to. Actually, Finball recommended this as well. Finball, always recommended whenever you see someone like responding to someone, go back and read the text that they're responding to, and it'll help give you a much greater sense of what it is that you're.
Yeah,
reading.
I'll probably read obviously Mal's critique of economic problems of socialism in the USSR, and then read it again and just like try and understand. Because I recognize myself when I was reading it, I don't fully get what's going on here.
Well, Stalin he gets a little bit airy fairy sometimes. He kind of conflates a lot. He makes a lot of mistakes,
I thought he did
a lot of
nothing
errors. Yeah. Well, I mean, when we're talking to liberals, that's what we say. But amongst the Marxists,
in proper circles, yeah.
in the right circumstances where we can talk about these things and we know we're not going to be fucking pinned to the wall by libs and all these dickheads, then we
70% good, 30% bad.
That's perfect.
I think Mao said that, didn't he?
That's literally it. Yeah, that's what Mao said. Actually, I think Deng Xiaoping said that about Mao as well. But yeah, well, I think that actually one of the wait, actually here's a hot take. Jose Francisco Perez asked. No, wait. Let me see. Here's a good. No, here's a good one here. For production, that's a really, really good question. Last one before we finish up. Quarter past. Yeah, 3 hours and 15 minutes in, and we're coming to 11:15. We're gonna have to finish up now. Here's a fun one. All right, here's a good question. Furore Productions asked Paul, if you could make one historical crushed socialist revolution succeed, which would you choose? Doesn't apply to revolutions.
Germany.
It doesn't apply to revolutions that succeeded in making a state but were crushed years later. Oh shit, because I was just gonna say China. But then it says it doesn't apply to revolutions that succeeded in making a state but were crushed years later.
It's Germany. I'm sorry, it's Germany.
Well, hang on a minute. What about the anarchist revolutions? What about just hear me out before we go crazy. Because the anarchists just want a stateless, classless, moneyless society, right? If they were true and we could make that happen straight away, hell yeah, we'd want that. Why the fuck wouldn't we want that? Could you imagine if that shit worked out in Spain? Could you imagine if everything was cool? That would have been great. That would have been fucking cool. I would have fucking loved that. Just straight to the stateless, classless, moneyless society, liberation for all. That's what we all want. That's the long-term goal.
Oh, we do, yeah. That's the end goal, yeah.
That'd be great.
What I mean in terms of like ultimate, what I'm concerned about is fucking worldwide liberation, worldwide getting to that point.
Yeah, but I mean, we're assuming that this spreads everywhere. We're assuming the armchair shit.
Okay, well, if we assume it spreads everywhere, yeah, Spain, fucking doing all that. But in terms of that real life,
in terms of real world, that doesn't work.
Spain wasn't a massive power at that time, in the 1930s. Whereas if the German Revolution succeeded in 1919, Rosa Luxemburg, Karl Liebknecht, any point between 1918 and 1923, actually, if it succeeded, if Hitler come to power and the communists did instead, then we'll be fucking living in worldwide communism right now, and I will not fucking back down from that. That is true.
Jesus, imagine.
Because Germany held massive economic power. It still holds massive economic power, but imagine that economic power being used for socialism, benefiting the USSR. I think it was Lenin that said that without the German Revolution, we're fucked pretty much. So if Rosa Luxemburg succeeded, then I have no doubt whatsoever that we'll be living in world communism right now.
Oh, beautiful.
And I think that has historical backing. But again, we're dealing with counterfactuals here. So, but we all consume. I think Germany was our biggest hope. And sadly, it didn't work out. The horrors of Hitlerism. A lot of the anger was directed towards national socialism rather than proper fucking real socialism.
Yeah.
And it's probably the greatest tragedy of world history. I won't lie. I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep, that would have been absolutely beautiful. 100%. Okay.
Because obviously Britain had a fucking revolutionary movement. France did, Italy, Austria, fucking Poland as well, Spain, everywhere had a revolutionary movement. If Germany was there backing it alongside the USSR, these countries would have succeeded. And obviously once Europe had turned red, then obviously the colonies would have been let loose. And then they could also fucking turn socialist as well. And then boom. Imagine the world we're living in right now.
Jesus Christ! Imagine if
But
things
we're
had gone
not.
differently.
But comrade, we're
it's
not
so
living in that
depressing.
world right now. We have to make that world. We have to fight today in our circumstances,
So depressing.
building our communities for our class to build that world that we wanted to exist. And yeah, we might not have much time left, but we can make the measures to fucking set things right. And then we can live in the world Social Republic and it'll be based as fuck. And we can have a pint in the two Tankies in real life and it'll be gorgeous.
It's coming any day now. Any day now. We're gonna make it happen.
Tomorrow, be ready. Pick up arms tomorrow. That's it.
I'm ready. Let's do it. Well, I mean, tomorrow's the 1st of April, so
I've got a joke plan for tomorrow.
we're all gonna be Trotskyists tomorrow. April
Trot
Fools.
time.
April Fools.
Hey.
Yeah. All right.
I've got a good meme plan for tomorrow.
Oh, well, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Otherwise, it won't be a good meme.
Oh no, you'll see it all tomorrow. You'll love it.
I will, and I'm gonna appreciate it. You're gonna rejoin the SWP, is it?
UKIP time.
Oh, next level.
Chauvinist time.
Oh boy, I'm looking forward to this arc.
I had a call for the SWP today, actually.
Yeah, what did they say?
They called me. Yeah, they were saying, "Oh,
Class
how are you
channel.
getting on and stuff? Are you ready to organise this kind of thing?" And I said, "I've actually left. I joined the Communist Party and put the phone down."
What did they say to that?
No, they just put the phone down.
Oh
They
shit.
didn't even fucking say how. Yeah,
That's bleak. That's bleak.
I know, yeah. Well, obviously, the SWP is fucked. We can go on for another 6 hours about the
Oh, yeah,
SWP
but
and the SWN and all that
In
kind of
Ireland,
thing,
yeah, as
you
well,
know.
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Although I will say they're definitely the best Trotskyist organization that we have. Out of the Trots,
Yeah, not
out
here.
of the Trots, they're definitely
Not
the
here,
best.
King. Not
No?
in Britain, they're not.
Do you have better Trots than them?
No, we do. No, hands down, no. Because we have trots in Britain who actually defend the USSR after Lenin. So they say that, like, obviously Stalin was bad and stuff, but they would say
Degenerate
like,
workers.
we don't want it to be overthrown. Yeah, they'll say degenerated worker state rather than
Not state capitalism.
state capitalists. It should be fucking overthrown and supporting Trotskyite groups in Cuba and stuff.
Oh yeah, Jesus
You know,
fucking Christ.
Who are obviously fucking backed by the CIA or some shit, like fucking obviously, but no, the SWP goes there and supports them, like, you fuckheads.
Fuckheads, indeed.
Overthrowing the fucking Cuban state nowadays is going to fucking lead to capitalist restoration. I mean, the fucking trot line when it came to the Berlin Wall falling. Oh yeah, the Berlin Wall's gone now. Now we can have a fucking Trotskyite Eastern Bloc in USSR and GDR and stuff. I mean, I wonder how this Trotskyite socialism working now for people who live in former East Germany and Poland and Russia and everywhere else. I mean, fucking hell, what a socialist paradise we live under now that glorious comrade Trotsky brought the fucking revolution to these places.
Thank goodness.
For fuck's sake. They're blind. They genuinely say, right? I was in a fucking meeting called How Cool is Stalinism, yeah? In fucking London, of all places. And this posh guy comes up and he starts speaking. He says that people are better off today now than they were back in the 1980s and all that. And it's like, you're chatting out your fucking ass. You know, I mean, we have homeless now. We have fucking unemployment. We have fucking everything in these countries now. I mean, yeah, we have very valid critiques of the states that existed in the Eastern Bloc, but to say they live better now than they did back then, nah, fuck off.
Tell that to the people in Moldova.
Ooh.
Tell that to the
What's
people.
happened in Moldova?
Have you seen Moldova recently? It's
No,
since the fall of the USSR, it's just been a mess. You know, have a look at it now. It's just totally run down. It's just been destroyed.
Yeah.
Total brain drain. There's this YouTube channel where you can watch this guy. You can watch this guy just kind of walking around all these former USSR and
oh,
Soviet
is it?
satellite
I know
states.
the guy. He's
Bald
Summit. Yeah,
Bald
yeah.
something, yeah.
I don't think he's a socialist, but obviously he goes
No.
to these areas and he shows poverty and stuff, doesn't he? Like,
Yeah, that's right. He's not a socialist. I think he's probably more like a right.
went to Cuba as well, I think, actually.
Yeah, I think he's more like a right libertarian kind of guy. But he goes around and he actually
He is definitely libertarian.
he asks he kind of asks the people, like, what do you think about, like, the fall of socialism? Do you think life was better under socialism or better now?
There's a guy in Cuba who says,
every
I'm
one
a
of them.
communist.
Yeah,
Whoa.
every single person, every person who talks to it is just like, yeah, life was way better. It's so depressing since the fall of the USSR.
Yeah.
And the episode that he did on like Moldova was just so fucking depressing. It's unbelievable how things have gone there.
Right.
And even like people I
Send
know.
the videos to me. I watch you when I'm
I'll,
sober. but,
I'll
like,
send the link on to you. Yeah, yeah. But like, I've talked to a load of people as well from like former USSR states, like people from like Kyrgyzstan, people from like all kinds of places. The one exception I think is mainly Poland, but basically all the former Soviet
Poland,
states,
massively,
former Soviets, what you might call it, former satellite states, or you know like the.
That's
Some
liberalism.
some
there,
people will
comedy.
say that there. Some people will call them Soviet satellite states. Some people call it. You know, might talk about like the what's it called? I forgot the words. Basically, like East Germany and all those kind of like Eastern European kind of countries.
The Eastern Bloc.
The
they call
Eastern
it,
Bloc,
The
yeah.
East Bloc.
And you talk to all
Or the
these people.
Socialist Bloc.
Yeah, if you want to call it that.
Debate
Wait,
time.
hang on. Combat liberalism time. That's not. We have to challenge incorrect idea. No, okay, all right. We'll let that slide.
Meet me tomorrow. Right, meet me tomorrow. 12 o'clock. We'll fight.
We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight this one out. We're gonna fight for the correct line. Literally.
We'll fucking duke it out, mate.
We're gonna fucking. I'm gonna get my Indonesian pink axolot martial arts.
Right, well, I'm
techniques.
gonna put my fucking black belt on, mate, and we'll have it out.
Yeah.
Simple as.
And
Go on,
we'll decide the correct line and we'll let you know all afterwards.
This is how
Bald and
democracy works. Just fighting each other.
This is how line struggle works. Bald and Bankrupt. That's the name of the channel. Bald and Bankrupt.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Come here. Can I just go for a final was before we finish up?
No, we're gonna wrap up. We gotta wrap up. We're gonna just wrap up straight away. We need to finish this off, otherwise, and we can chat for a few minutes afterwards. We'll wrap up. Let's wrap things up, and then you can go.
Well, I need a piss before I finish up this final story.
All right. Go on.
Cheers, come on.
Go on.
Just cheeky.
Go on, cheeky was. Go on, cheeky was. What am I saying? I feel like Westbrook when I say cheeky was. Going for a pish. That's what we say here. All right, Bald and Bankrupt. Yeah, it's a really, really good channel. It's really worth checking out. Even if I don't agree with the kind of right libertarian politics that are espoused on it, but it does kind of show a lot of people who are very upset in these formerly nominally socialist countries, if you want to call them that. And yeah, it's tragic to see Moldova has been just been hit so harshly by the whole situation, and it's a tragedy to see this. All the people are so disappointed with capitalism, or at least this brutal, open form of capitalism that we see now. There's no jobs, there's total brain drain. It's a total fucking mess. I see Papi Chulo saying the no glasses gang. I see the Pol Pot gang is here. Tex Mondo, yo pal, how's it going? How are you getting on, comrade? Good to see you here. Doing okay. It's a Wednesday night, having some fun, having a few drinks, taking it easy. It's pretty nice. See what other people are saying here. The peanut butter cup, former socialist states, lol. Yeah, they were never really fully socialist, but we're getting into the ultra left territory. So I'm trying not to be that annoying ultra leftist tonight. I'm trying to be more chill. So we don't need to do that. I mean, there definitely was socialism there. I mean, Albania was absolutely socialist, no doubt about it, 100%.
I'm back, comrades.
Ah, there you are. How are you? Are you well?
I had a lovely was, mate. I had 7 shakes just for the show.
7. Oof.
7.
I can understand maybe 3 or 4.
I'm
maybe
treating
5.
you all.
That's not treating us. That's treating yourself.
I did enjoy it. I won't lie. There was a little bit of pleasure involved.
That's just for Josh. Those last 2 at least were just for you.
I'm 21 now. I've earned it. Come on, surely.
21 shakes.
It's my present to me sent. 21 shakes. It's like birthday bits with shakes.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. All right, come here to me. We're gonna wrap things up. We've been going.
We're wrapping up now.
It's been 3.5
Do you
hours.
want to?
You need to.
I mean, I'd absolutely fucking love to go for another 7 hours, but we can't.
No, we need to wrap this up because we went for fucking like 8 hours last time. We said we're gonna do 2 hours today. 2 hours in the 2 Tankies pub, and now it's
2 to 3 hours. We did say, to be fair, we did say 2 to 3.
But we're over that. We've broken our promise to the people. The masses are so disappointed in us. The masses are crying on the streets.
The masses love it. The masses are dancing and singing at the fact we went over.
Do you ever see those videos?
Praises.
Do you ever see those videos? Do you ever see those videos like of like the DPRK and it shows the masses like crying, like
when they're crying over Kim Jong-un,
they're
Kim Jong-il and that.
They're
No,
just-
they're laughing. They're dancing in
the
streets.
people are in the
fact we've gone
streets
on
just.
5 minutes. Can you imagine that? Everybody in
Breaking
the chat
down
right
the
now.
streets.
Do like, everybody in the chat, do a little 07 if you're dancing in the streets right now at the fact we're going over.
Do a little 07 in the chat there, and I'll give you a little shout out as it comes up. I know. Our comrade is going to do a great a little two tankies, not lead in, lead out, I suppose. Of the stream.
Yeah. It's closing remarks, isn't it?
Yeah, closing remarks. Put a little 07 in the chat, and I'll give you a little shout out afterwards. And yeah, comrade, take it away. Take it away. The last words of the night.
Comrade, so of course we did have the call for final orders in the last half an hour. James Connolly,
2 hours ago.
Yeah, our James Connolly, obviously, he does know that we are regulars. He loves us to bits, and he knows that we do have local custom. But he does remember the fact that the Garda Síochána and the West Yorkshire Police did put a notice outside of the pub saying no more lock-ins. Please do respect the neighbours when you do leave. So he brandishes this proclamation outside of the pub, and he explicitly comes to us because he knows that we're the main culprits for staying about for a little bit too long, overstaying our welcome. And he says, lads, I'll do an Irish accent now, but I'd probably be I'd butcher it. So if you can just imagine that I'm speaking a good Irish accent. He says,
There
lads,
he is.
if you can reinterpret it after I say it, that'd be fucking amazing. So he says, lads, I fucking love you and all that, lads.
Lads, I
know you're
fucking
regular.
love yous and all that. But lads,
I love you to bits, boys.
I love you to bits, boys. But
the police, the Rozzers, they've said to me, you've got to go, boys. So next time
the
time we
police,
see you,
the rats, they're telling me that you have to go, lads. But next time.
that's it, son. Next time, boys, we'll give you a free pint on the house.
Next time.
We'll be all the merrier for it.
Next time, free cans back in my gaff. Sound boy.
Going around to fucking
we don't have
colonies for after.
because we don't own property. We don't own land. We don't own pubs. You have to come around to our gaffs, our homes.
You got to go around to the gaff for afters, haven't you?
Yeah, that's
So
what we
anyway,
do.
Jake Connolly says, I'm sorry, boys, but it's time to go. So the masses, they start pouring out. The pint man, he's just finished his 45th pint, and he's quite happy with himself. The anger that was apparent at the start when he was being knocked about by the fucking plebs, he's got a smile on his face now. He's chuffed with himself. He's attained his goal of 45, and he stumbles out like a fucking lad, ready for the fry tomorrow morning. But then we have to follow after him. So, how many people are viewing right now, comrade?
67 at the moment.
Me, yourself, and 67 others. 69. Nice. If you will.
Kinky.
Go stumbling out of our snug, out into the streets. And we notice a sign, so we can't be singing any rebel songs tonight, boys. So what we do is we stumble out, we get into our local kebab shop. And the man there, he's waiting for us, and he says, fucking welcome home, kings. And he's already got the kebab.
I love it.
He's got the kebabs already waiting out. So all the fucking little
I love it.
over the bench he's got. So you've already got 69 kebabs laid out on the side. And what we all do is we all ceremonially walk up to the counter, pick up our kebab, pour up our sauce of choice, and then we go out onto the street corner and we sit down on pavement and we just munch on the kebab, mate, and we just continue the conversation. It's fucking legendary. What we do is we ponder over the legends and the myths and the stories of the Two Tankies pub. And
I love this so much.
Of the antics that occurred. And then someone starts singing out a little song, mate, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. We all start crying together and we do a little group huggle, a little bit of a kiss on the side of the cheek.
Oh my God.
And we miss the antics. But what we do from here, we don't dwell on the past. We fucking look forward to the future. And we look forward once again. So we reunite inside that Two Tankies pub where James Connolly at the bar has brewed us up a few pints together to enjoy in our little snug, which has got our plaque above it now because it's ours. Yeah. And we can be sat there in front of the open fire, enjoying the banter, educating the masses, enjoying socialism, mate. And that is the memory that we carry forth as we go to bed. and it's what we look forward to and what we aspire to obtain once again. The Two Tankies pub, the best pub that has ever been devised by man. It's glorious, mate. And that is what we go to sleep
Wow.
on. We go to sleep on the glories of the past, but we also look forward to a glorious future once again when we all meet.
Holy shit.
And
07.
that is what we end on, comrades.
Get the little red salute to that. Jesus fucking Christ, that was beautiful.
I hope you all enjoyed your kebab, comrades, as well. From what's the name of the kebab shop then? If we got the Two Tankies pub, what's the kebab shop called?
Two kebabs, I suppose. I don't know.
I guess two kebabs then, mate. Simple as, isn't it?
Simple
You got
as.
to keep the two fame.
Yeah. Oh, that was absolutely beautiful. Really atmospheric, really evocative, beautiful, beautiful. I really appreciate it.
I've only had 6 pints tonight, so I feel like if I was on like 11, then I could have done
Could have gone
much more
could have gone with
impassioned
it, yeah.
speech, you know.
And you were
Could've
drinking
gone, I could
yesterday
have
as
written a
well.
novel for you.
Your tolerance is built up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've started to regain my pint man qualities again.
And tomorrow as
Rather
well,
than-
you've got the stream on your channel.
I have, yeah. I've got, everyone should go over to that. I've got a little Ask Me Anything stream. I'll probably go for about 2 hours,
That'd be good.
just answering questions and that, because I won't be able to put out a video this month just because I've got my dissertation due in on the 28th, and that takes up a lot of time. So I'm just doing a nice little stream as like a kind of replacement for a video this month, and then I am planning on making a comeback in May. Hard,
Oh shit.
a hard and fast comeback.
Watch out.
I'm going to be discussing the wall,
Lock up your liberal ideology.
the Berlin Wall.
I'm looking forward
That
to that.
should be exciting.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
So obviously it's probably something I get a lot of fucking hate for,
Oh,
but I think it's something needs to be talked about as well.
well, if you need support on the getting hate front,
How to deal with it.
just give me a shout. I can explain to you how to delete your social media apps from your phone, how to log out and make it very difficult to log back in, so that you only do it on very specific
Amazing.
occasions.
Please, so I'll let you know when I'm about to release it, and can you just send like an essay of just how
Yes.
to deal with it?
Here's how to handle.
I'll
the
just log
onslaught.
out for about
This is
6 months, and that's it.
Just take a week off, and then you'll be okay. After
Yeah, no, I think it is an important topic, though, and I am going to be referring to primary sources, sources from
Cool.
the time, and trying to be unbiased, so talking about obviously the prospect of migration being the major cause,
Hmm.
but also the other cause as well in terms of like preserving world peace for fucking starters,
Hmm.
Also the anti-fascism front as well. So it should be a nice nuanced video, hopefully.
I'm looking forward to that.
Obviously there'll be fucking people out there. I mean, you have the claim there's understanding there was no wall
Hmm.
and that kind of thing. And
Mm.
obviously the situation back then was very, very different from what it was in 1961.
Well, be prepared for people clipping you and taking you out of context and saying all kinds of stuff. That's a reality.
I can't wait.
unfortunately.
Hopefully, with the new mic, mate, they'll hear the voice and they'll
The
melt
sultry tones.
because
They'll be impressed.
the dulcry tones, the Yorkshire accent.
Beautiful. Come here, Phoebe, let's do it. Let's do a shout out. Let's do a shout out to
Yeah, let's do shout
comrades
outs.
in the
Yeah,
chat. Red Fenian Punk 07 comrades. Thank you for being
yes,
here.
what a fucking legend.
Great to have you here. Pappy Chulo, great to have you here, comrade.
Legend as well.
Long time supporter. Comrade Matthew Calise, IK, Ick, ZB, Matthew O'Regan, Ben Totes, Frore Productions.
Yeah,
Matthew Calise also says happy birthday, Swann. So happy birthday, comrade.
thank you.
Let me see wherever I go. Oh, I've lost it here. Oliver Smith.
21 now.
Yeah, old man Swann.
Old fucking boomer Swan.
We've got Oliver Smith.
I've moved over from being a cygnet to an ugly duckling to a beautiful swan.
You've leveled up. Beautiful Swan mode.
Level up.
The Schlendrian, Ick,
Oh,
Diet.
they're based.
They're all amazing people. Lots of love
Everyone's
to them all.
based, yeah.
Based, absolute based gang. Moi or Moi Moya? M-O-I-M-O-I.
Moi.
The Peanut Butter Cup 13 says happy birthday, Swann.
Thank you,
that's nice.
comrade.
Yeah.
Very kind.
Yeah, that's nice. Vuchko has arrived. Ayo! How are you getting on? Good to see you, comrade.
Oh, what a legend.
Here to keep things chill.
Go watch their introduction video as well. It's quite interesting, obviously.
It's very good.
You know me, obviously, I'm a hardcore fucking ML at the end of the day. No Maoism. I'm very excited.
That's what you say when you're live. Wait till we're off the air. Wait till you're fucking DMing me.
I'm very excited for what this comrade has to say.
This is everybody here. Come here to me. Everybody, fucking this is so. It's so funny to me that like recently, since like coming out as an MLM and coming under a lot of like fire and a lot of heat from a lot of people, there's so many people like DMing me and sending me private messages, being like, "Yeah, by the way, you're right about this. I really agree with you, but I just can't talk. I can't talk openly about this. I can't because
I've never said that.
they're gonna dogpile me. Like they're gonna come for me. The fucking pro 20. They're gonna come for me. I'm not gonna say. I'm not saying you did, by the way. But
I've never said this, comrade. You're chatting shite.
But there are a lot of people who have been who've been very like, yeah, MLM kind of is the way forward, but I'm just kind of uncomfortable about saying it because a lot of people are gonna come for me and a lot of people are gonna dogpile me and jump on me. So I'm just saying it's okay. You can be open about it. You can talk about these things. A lot of people are feeling the same way as you. They just don't want to talk about it and don't want to.
Me? Shut up.
You in the general sense, not you as in Josh, but you as in someone someone who recognizes that maybe 20th century socialism wasn't 100% perfect and that there were reasons why it fell and that need to be overcome for the next round of socialism.
Okay.
So that
I thought that 20th century socialism was perfect in every way, and it never actually fell.
Oh, that's not what you were saying. Excuse me. That's not what some other nondescript people were saying in private to me.
Well, those people are wrong.
They're breaking with democratic centralism of.
They are. They're cretins.
Anyway, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. If you want, you can send me a message. You can send Vuchko a message. You can talk to some people. You can have conversations. You can chat it out and be open.
I'll
and
send you a message, but I'm not related to this topic.
Unrelated. And we can talk about what went wrong and how we can do better in the future. And that's okay. That's okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Zanzi has arrived. Zan, great to see you, champion. Zan is. I fucking adore Zanzi. What a fucking lovely guy. Very smart, intelligent,
He's
thoughtful.
He's a fucking wise, legendary king. Yeah.
Legend.
Very, very clever.
Yeah.
Also, do check out our stream together talking about Ireland's relationship with the Empire. I personally, although I was very much tansplaining.
No, it was very good. It was very good.
So,
despite the tansplaining, it was very good.
Just forget the fact I'm a fucking Brit.
No, it was very, very good. It was very, very good. Yeah. So thank you very much for doing that.
I'm glad I got the Paddy seal of approval.
Yeah. Did you say Paddy? Jesus fucking Christ. Do you know that's a slur?
Chauvinist time.
Fucking hell. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. All right, we're done. Thank you very much, everybody. That was
I'm deleting my channel.
All right, we're gonna somebody clip that. Put it up on Twitter. That's all he said. Call me Paddy. You hear that?
Oh, shit.
Can call the Paddy.
Yep.
Tansplained. Okay.
Yeah, I said it.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Take care.
Comrades. I hope you all enjoy your kebabs that you had at the kebab shop, at the 2 kebab shop. Next round at the 2 Tankies pub. We'll see you in the next round because it's going to be a next round, isn't it, comrade?
There definitely will be. Cheers, comrades. Bye bye.